Hello. I'm live. Hello, hello. 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 How's it going? Hello, Dion. Hello, Grace. Hello, Janet. Hello. Yes, you're a little bit early and I was a little bit late. Hello. Yes, I was watching the Crystal Smyth announce the mystery boxes. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how this week has had my wallet in a chokehold, and we're going to talk about 3 new releases that have come in. So thank you everybody for joining. Um, oh yeah, I have somebody who's asking me about the mystery boxes. This is thrilling content watching me text on my phone. Let me get rid of them. Riveting. Is this content? Is this content? Okay, let me let me turn the volume down. All the volumes, all the volumes. Okay, lovely. Hello, hello, hello. Here we are. There's something about the angle on this that's looking really weird. Let me see. I don't know what I can do. Probably not much. That feels a little better. I'm still not like. Okay, so the whole backwards thing always confuses me. So I think I have to move it a little bit this way. I don't, yeah, this is fine. I'm fine. It's all fine. I hope it's using the computer speakers and not this dumb microphone, because this microphone has been killing me slowly. Because if you've watched either of my last 2 videos, well, if you've watched the video that came out, the Starry mystery boxes, or the video that comes tomorrow, and I'm sure videos that come in the future because I film more than one on a day, um, this mic is plugged in, and this is the mic that I got from work. Like, this is an expensive like Yeti microphone, and it's it's behaving badly. It is bullshit. I don't know what's happening. The audio has been terrible, and I'm just not excited. Not excited. Yeah, so let's talk about some things. So first, let's talk about the Crystal Smith, because I just so after he closes them, then the next day he does a live, and basically what he does is, because he also likes to be surprised, and so his partner uses a randomizer and assigns all the different prizes to all the different people. There were a lot of people who ordered mystery boxes, and there were a surprising number like me who went a little bit ham. I know that I originally said that I had ordered 4. I may have gone back later and ordered 2 more. So we have 6 mystery boxes that we are going to be unboxing. So there's that. There's only 5 jewelry items. So let's talk about it. So um, if you ordered at 2 different times, you got different boxes. If you had an order of multiple items, he put them all into one little, basically he puts them in little boxes and then opens them, and there's little tokens that say what it is. And so I had 2 little boxes that said what my like orders were. And so the first one he opened was actually the one that I ordered just a couple days ago. And for that one, I am getting a pair of earrings. And this is something new that he's doing for this round of mystery boxes, and he's adding it to his regular collections, a circlet. So kind of like a tiara. And I think the way that I will wear it will probably be like a tiara. But generally, like if you see like on the show Vikings, where they have that like metal thing that comes around the front and maybe it's got some little adornments, that's like a circlet. It's like a forehead crown. So it goes part way around, kind of like a tiara, where it doesn't have the full band, but it does kind of go part way around, and then you can wear it kind of up a little bit to kind of look like a tiara. So I'm getting a circlet and a pair of earrings. Then when he got to my other box, which was my first order of 4 items, I did get $100 gift card. So at some point I'm going to have to go dig around on the site, and maybe we'll have another unboxing of something. Maybe I'll order something else to go with my, if you saw my unboxing video, it's available on my channel. But I did a matched set where I ordered a necklace and a pair of earrings, and he threw in a couple free gifts. He threw in a brooch and a ring. And so I had kind of a 4-piece set. So maybe I might order a circlet to match the whole thing. Who knows? But I got a $100 gift card. I got a ring, a brooch, and a mantle. And I have been saying on and on and on about how I have been wanting one of their big mantles. So, like, if a necklace is like a decoration up here, a mantle is like a shoulder decoration. If you think of like kings or queens when they have the like long capey cloaks on and they have that kind of long chain of like decorated stuff, that is a mantle. And so I have a mantle that's coming. You are doing the collaboration thing for our lives. All right. Nice. Very excited for some collaboration stuff. So, yes, that is what is going to be coming. Now, I am going to get an email where it tells me because each mystery box that you put into your cart, you select your setting color and you select your stone color. And this time he did give the option where you could choose two sets of options. So you could choose stone color, setting color, and then stone color, setting color. And your mystery item, if it's not a gift card, will be one of those two settings. So he's going to send an email that'll confirm which of the items on the list are which set of colors. I kind of know like which grouping they are. So like the latest order, I have one item that's going to be emerald AB and gold, and one that's going to be light AB and silver. And there's going to be a pair of earrings, and there's going to be a circlet. Oh, Sarah, I'm excited to see Sarah. That's exciting. Yeah, so, but I don't know which is which. And then for the four, I don't know which is which of those. And I'm not going to look at it because I'm going to do another unboxing video. So I want to be surprised. So that is what's going on. Just a little asides that I'm sure I'll put into the video, and this is not sponsored. I did do an ad with him in terms of like disclosures. That's an ad partnership, but I didn't get paid for the ad. I didn't get the mystery boxes for free. I did buy all 6 of the ones that I bought. And like I said, during the unboxing, I did buy the necklace and earrings, and he unbidden just threw in a couple of free gifts. So I did get like basically PR, but it wasn't like, hey, here's this new collection, can you show this off or whatever. It wasn't anything like that. But gift cards can be valid for 1 year. The only thing they're not really valid on are future mystery box orders. So obviously, if you get like $100 gift card that you paid $70 for, you can't use that to buy a $70 mystery box and you get it. You understand. Or auctions. And he said he hasn't done auctions for years, and he certainly hasn't done any auctions since I've been paying attention. So I don't even know what that is. But you could, if he did auctions, you couldn't use the mystery box card on that. But can be used for other orders or commissions. And the items will be shipped by the end of October. So look for an unboxing video sometime early mid-November. Very excited for that. I cannot wait. Speaking of jewelry that I have ordered, so I was on Facebook Marketplace, and I try to stay off of Facebook Marketplaces. I have enough places to shop to spend my money, but there was somebody in one of the drag groups who was selling a bunch of their jewelry. So it's all stuff from their collection. It's not stuff that they made. Hey Tanya, how's it going? It's all stuff that they made, and so it wasn't stuff that they made. It was all stuff that they bought, and they bought from different people. And so I bought 2 sets because they were pretty cheap. And one set was this like AB and champagne, and that one, whoever made that set, it was in like this really cheap aluminum. And so if you like even pressed it a little bit, a stone could very easily pop out. So a bunch of them came like popped out. But the person I bought it from didn't make it, and they were selling it as is, all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. And pretty girl. So those Angie is fixing right now, but I got a second set and they arrived in pristine condition. Howsoever, I sometimes look at pictures and I don't really understand sizing. Like my spatial abilities are not top notch. So I'm going to show you the set of earrings and a ring that I bought. And the ring is fine. I love a big ring. That's fine. But these earrings, but when you see the color, you're going to know why I had to have them. Because these earrings and ring were $50. And I was like, I have to have those. Those are beautiful. And I can kind of understand these are clearly, the other ones had clearly been worn at some point. These I can tell have never been worn. And I think I know why, but I'm going to make it work because they're so beautiful. But this Look, look at how big. Look at how big this set of earrings is. Look at how look at how crazy. But I love it. I love it. I but look at this beautiful, like, it's kind of iridescent purple, and then this beautiful iridescent green, these little teardrops. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. So these are actually magnets. So that's big for a lot of drag queens. I have weird earlobes, and so magnets I have a hard time because they just kind of slip down and eventually like they fall off. But usually what I do is um I will put these on, and I do this with clips too, is I actually use nail glue. I know it's terrible. It's terrible. Yeah, I'm gonna have to anchor my wig because if these it kind of dangles tend to flop around and get caught in wigs, but oh my god, I love these so much. But so I put a little bit of nail glue, and these do have pretty strong magnets. I'm terrible at putting earrings on anyway. I have no coordination, but um so basically, you just kind of then put the magnet on the backside of your ear, and the magneticism or whatever, I don't know science. The magnetic pull like pulls through your ear and keeps it there. But my earlobes are so flimsy and thin at the bottom that eventually what'll happen is they'll start to sag, and then they'll just kind of fall off, and then it'll be stuck together because the magnet is stronger pulling it to itself than sticking out my ear. But those, I'm so excited about these. They're just so huge. But I saw these and I was like, even if I don't have something that I think will match, I will buy fabric and I will make a dress to match these because this sort of green is like one of my favorite greens in the world. And I just love it. And then there is a big old ring. And then they even like stick to each other. So they'll store nicely. But look at how beautiful this big old honkin' ring is. Oh, gorgeous. Green and purple. Such a fabulous combo. Thank you, Grace. Yes, thank you, Tanya. Yeah, it's gonna be wild. So let's get into some makeup stuff. So what should we do first? Should we talk about the insane shopping person that I have been this last week? Or should we talk about the things that are here? Which would you prefer? I'm going to grab a little refreshment. I'm going to have a little sippy sip. And you can let me know in the chat, would you rather see the products that are here first? Or shall we talk about my unfortunate lack of self-control when it comes to online shopping? Little Mountain Dew Zero. I also, because it's Friday and we're getting ready for the weekend, we have a little bit of Lipton tea. Tanya votes for online shopping. Can I get the tea open? The online shopping. All right. Let's talk about the online shopping. So I have a little list here. What new releases did I pick up this week? Pretty much all of them. So I've been on a little bit of a tear. Now I had been on kind of a little bit of a like self-imposed, not very official low buy. And so I was like, you know what? I've got a little bit of cash. I had gotten a bonus not too long ago from work. And I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and pick up some things that we like because there's been so many good releases lately. And I'm so excited. The first thing I got were the Glamlight coffee lip kits. I don't necessarily love coffee. There's nothing about the like coffee flavor or anything that I was excited about, but I do really like the Glamlight lip kits. Their lip products have come so far. If you remember back when Glamlight was doing the food palettes were tremendous. The lip products that they had at that time were horrific. They were a hate crime. I don't know where they were made, but they were so like Timu basic. They were not good. And they usually had a weird, not really like it's hard to explain because I don't think it would have had like a petroleum jelly, but it had almost that kind of chemically petroleum jelly kind of smell. I also just realized that I have the craziest hair in the world, and I think I tried to fix it a little bit, and it's just this is how I look. The way work is going lately, this is just how I look by Friday. And so we're a little bit crazy. And I was gonna shave so that I wouldn't look so scruffy. But I'm gonna film tomorrow, so I'm like, well, don't shave today and then have to shave again tomorrow and just rip up your skin. So I didn't do that. So anyway, so easy. Hello, Joe. Welcome, fabulous Joe. We're so excited to have you here. So yeah, I picked up the Glamlight coffee kits. The Saw collection is coming sometime soon. Angelica Nyqvist from Sweden, in her like Friday new releases video today, she made it sound like it was already out, and I was like, "What?" And then she had an on-screen thing that was like, "I don't think it's actually out yet." But I had a panic because I was like, "Can you let me breathe for 2 seconds? Can you let me just breathe for, like, a minute? Like, can you leave me alone for just a second?" But Saw is coming. I'm kind of hoping, low key, that they only do, like, 1 Halloween horror collection this year because I can't take it. My heart can't take it. I also ordered the Fantasy Cosmetica, The Witch is Familiar. That one I was on the fence about, but once people started comparing it to the Melt Morte palette, I was like, "Oh, yeah, that was a good one." I loved the shit out of that palette, and I used that a lot, and I ranked that really high. I think in my Melt ranking when I was talking about it, that was one of the top because I loved that, like, dark blue and turquoisey green and then like red. It was just such a weird combination. I loved the Muerte palette. It was so good. And so I was like, you know what? Once people started comparing it, I was like, I have to get it. Now, if you want to know about my other 10 palettes from Fantasy Cosmetica, there's going to be a Thunderdome ranking that comes out at 8 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. I've got a Thunderdome where we are going to be ranking my 10 palettes from Fantasy Cosmetica. So there are 9 of the class palettes, so the ones that are like Druid, Bard, Sorcerer, all of those kinds of things. And then there's one that's one of the bigger palettes. I'll let you discover. I might have shown it on a live actually, so I'm probably like talking about things that people already know. But if you don't remember what I've mentioned, or if I've talked about in videos of what I was wearing, you can see which bigger palette I also have. But now I have the Witches Familiar, and I think I put a note in a video of where I guessed I would put it in the ranking, without having seen it, without having swatched it and played and all that kind of stuff. But just based on impression, where I thought I would put it. So that's coming out at 8 a.m. tomorrow, 8 a.m. Central, talking all about Fantasy Cosmetica. So like I said, I'm trying to make sure I am determined, even if I have to take time off of work, that I'm going to have at least 1 video a week. And I'm really trying to have 2 videos a week. And so tomorrow I'm going to be filming, and then Sunday I'm probably going to be editing to try to get some stuff done. And we'll talk about some of those different things that are coming up. Another order that I placed, I gave in and I got that Bella Butte bar, Dark Dreamscape, Dark Dreamers. I just, there's something about it that's so pretty. And I like that it's brighter because Bella Butte Bar is kind of like Fantasy Cosmetica and Nomad Cosmetics, where I don't buy every release when it comes out. Usually I end up at those 3, like Fantasy Cosmetica, Bella Butte Bar, and Nomad Cosmetics. Something will come up that I want, and there's like the previous release that I didn't get is there, and I usually end up getting 2 at a time. I don't have the Coalescence palette yet. I also don't have the like unimpressive nudes or whatever the one that looked like the burn book, not unimpressive. What was the like it had some new uninteresting nudes, or it was some kind of self-deprecating kind of thing, but that one's been kind of tempting me. I know, me neutral nudes, what am I talking about? But I was really drawn to the Coalescence, but the Coalescence palette reminds me also of that newest Artitude Cosmetics palette, where it's colors that I like turquoise and green and purple and blue, and there's brights and pastels, but they're much more muted than I typically like. And that's how I felt about the Coalescence. Now, the shimmers, as with all Bella Butte Bar, the shimmers are gorgeous. So I almost also picked up the Coalescence palette, and if it sticks around, it may end up in my collection, but I did hold off. I was like, you know what? We're just gonna get this one, and we're gonna get a couple of the balms. And I think they had lip liners. I think I got 2 lip liners and 2 balms, because the balms look like you can really build them up. I mean, I was like, lip balm? do I want that for drag looks? Like, I don't know if I need colored lip balms because when I'm just wearing lip balm out in the world, I wear clear lip balm. Sometimes as I'm talking, you'll notice I talk with my hands, and sometimes I'll like act out. So I'll be like, lip when I'm wearing balm out in public as if I'm putting it on. That's what happens in my brain. But yeah, so I went ahead and got 2 of the balms and 2 of the lip liners. Everybody's doing lip liners now. I don't know what's going on with lip liners. I don't know. Lip liners are having a moment. I guess we're here for it. I'm never that excited about a pencil. I'm just not. So I'm glad that like a lot of these brands are launching lip liners with other things. Cause that was one thing where like I might have ordered the gloss too. I can't remember. But I might have thrown the gloss in with the Dark Dreamer palette. Um, what was Unearthly Cosmetics? I don't know what's going on with Unearthly Cosmetics, and I know she's been talking on like Instagram lives about how they're having a hard time, and the tariffs have been trouble, and they've seen like a drop in orders, and I think they're kind of struggling. And I go back and forth with them because their pre-order situation gets ridiculous. And I know that sometimes that's how you need to get the money to get the products produced so that you can get them on the way. And so it's tough for me because if I don't, there are some things that I see and I'm immediately like, oh, I know I'll like that. So I might go in on a pre-order, although some of their pre-orders are like 2 months, 3 months, even beyond that. That's getting into notoriously morbid territory. Um, Hashtag sorry, not sorry about that. But um, I do like Notoriously Morbid. I shouldn't be snarky. I'm just like annoyed that all of the products that I've ordered in the last few orders have been Spellcast Beauty, which was allegedly the ready to ship brand, and like none of them were ready to ship. And this one has like been since August. But so what was I even saying? The Bella oh, the lip liners. So Unearthly launched just lip liners by themselves, and I was like, that's for someone. And they weren't expensive, and they look like they're beautiful. I've seen people use them in videos. They look beautiful. A launch that's just lip liners, I'm never interested in. Like if it's not paired, even pair it with a lipstick, even put out lipsticks at the time or a gloss. So you can buy like a lip combo. I am almost never out there just shopping for lip liners. And again, I'm not everybody. I get it. Not everything has to be for me. I don't have to like put myself in the center of everything. I don't have to make everything be about me, but I definitely that was a launch from Unearthly that I was like, huh? What? Like liners just by themselves. But I did pick up from Singe, this was just today. I did order the Paisley Hoot collection. And then she had her lip liners, and they're like $12, so not too bad. They are the wood ones that you sharpen, which I kind of like. I prefer the wood ones over the like mechanical ones. But so they were $12, or you could do a bundle of 3 of them for 32. So you save $4, so a little bit off. I mean, she's a small indie brand. And so yeah, I've heard great things about Unearthly, and at some point, that's the thing is I wish they had more stuff that they did like pre-orders and stuff, and then they would get more stock and it would be available. Sometimes they do that, but I feel like a lot of stuff sells out and it's out of stock for a long time. And like if you don't get it on the original pre-order, you wait months on months. And so I would maybe think about getting some of their lip liners, but it's such a pain to order from Unearthly lately. But they look gorgeous and they look like they've done some fun colors. Um, you like the Unearthly. Okay, so another person likes the lip liners. That's good because I sort of begrudgingly use lip liners. Anytime I don't, especially lately, I don't know what it is. I don't know who I'm becoming. I don't know. This Pokemon has gone into the little Pokeball, and I am about to emerge in my final evolution or whatever. I have been all about oopy goopy lips lately. I was never like a gloss person. I was never, and lip oils drive me crazy, but also I've weirdly been all about oopy goopy lips. Like I just love a goopy smoopy, like like it's just too much. You know what I mean? Like I used to hate that, and it shows. I could never do that at a show because I have to keep my face on my face. Like when I'm running around and dancing and grabbing tips and hosting, if I'm hosting the show, I can't like that doesn't work. I have to have like a matte liquid lipstick, and if I'm gonna add any kind of shine, I have to use powder. Like I use an eyeshadow and put it on. But like for photo shoots or filming days where I have a little bit more flexibility, a goopy, glossy, juicy, yummy lip has just been gorgeous, has just been so gorgeous, and I've been loving it. So lip liners are key because if I try to do with my thin little chicken lips and I overdraw my lips so much that I have to have a lip liner to overdraw anyway. And then if I tried to do the gloss without it, I would just be like I would be like a toddler who like got into the popsicles, like just all over the face. I have not tried the Glisten Chroma glosses. I don't know why, because I have placed quite a few orders from Glisten, but I think it's because I've been obsessed with their like Spectra paints. And so every time I go, I get overwhelmed by the like Spectra paint colorful foundations. And now they've launched pastels and now they are shipping to the US again. So they're not on this list, but at some point, Glisten will probably be on my list of orders. But yeah, so I did order the Paisley Hoot collection and I ended up with 6 lip liners. That's where I was going with all of that is like the person who never loved lip liners. I added 2 lip liners to my Bella Beauté bar order and I ordered 6 of Angelica's 9 lip liner colors. I don't know what's happening. There's no adult steering the ship. There's no one's at the rudder. We are just adrift. And so yeah, so I just and speaking of adrift, another thing that finally I don't know what finally got me. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's just that I'm waiting for the Saw collection because as much as I've sort of criticized the Glamlight holiday, like Halloween horror collections, they've been kind of samey. They've had a couple things that have kind of missed the mark or whatever, but I'm still waiting for the Saw. I love when people do horror collabs and so even though I wasn't sure when I saw all the swatches and it looks kind of muted and it looks a little bit not exactly in my wheelhouse, I ordered the Conjuring collection. I ordered the Conjuring collection. I ordered yeah, yeah, sometimes I don't know if it's just like makeup boredom. Hello, Annaboo. How are you doing? Welcome. Thanks for the hearts. I don't know if it's just that I'm so excited for like the Saw collection and it's another horror movie themed collab. I went ahead, I ordered the palette, and then they had a bundle that was because I'm almost out of a couple of my primers. I've been like finishing up primers. And so, especially with complexion stuff, like eyeshadow palettes, clearly I will just buy eyeshadow palettes like a maniac. But complexion stuff, I always like to be like, well, I probably shouldn't buy a foundation until I finish up 1 or 2 of the foundations I have. Powder, do I need another powder? It's very easy to talk myself out of it. But they had one that had the highlighter, so that's key because I love a highlighter. But then it had that primer that looks like it has the blood drops in it. And I saw a video where somebody applied it and it looked like the little red blood drops like come out on your face. I didn't know if they were just little like not microplastic beads, but like little things that would like kind of explode and have no color. But it looks like they kind of have color, and then as you work them in, it goes away or whatever. But so it had the highlighter, that primer, and then it had that weird. I don't know why I'm holding up my hand like this, but it had that weird powder that was like it's. I don't even understand what it is, and that's why I had to have it because it's so rare for something to feel really, really new because sometimes things will go away for a while. Like now, the last few years, we've been on this oopy goopy spoopy lip moment where everybody's been doing lip oils, and glosses and all this kind of stuff. And now we're starting to see more of like, we're getting more liquid lipsticks back again and more of those blotted lips. And even though I know I was here the last time they came around, and like the blotted lips, I didn't even like them then, but I think it just feels kind of new. And this powder feels new. Like it's that new where because they describe it almost like it is like a cream, but it goes on like a powder. And so it's in this little compact and it's sort of like I think it's a translucent because it looks like it's kind of pearl beige, but then has like a gray smoke in it. And I'm like, that's so weird. I have to have that. And so when they package that with the highlighter, I always love a highlighter. And I especially love a peachy orange highlighter. And it sounds like that's what it is. And the primer. And I finished up or I'm close to finishing up 2, maybe 3 primers, and so I was like, "You know what? That and the palette, come home with me. It's time. Let's just admit we're gonna get the Conjuring collection." So I did go ahead and order it. I tried to see if it was on Camera Ready Cosmetics. I know that Lethal Cosmetics has a US warehouse now, and they're shipping, and it's not a tariff issue anymore because the tariffs get paid when they go to the warehouse or however it works out. But they weren't on Camera Ready Cosmetics, so I checked there first and then went back. So I'm very excited to see how this process goes, since it's the first one where I'm going since the whole tariff shenanigans, the chaos that's going on. I also ordered because I know I'm not that big of a fan, so I don't know if it was today, if it was like midnight last night, but of course T Swift's new album is out, and all anybody on TikTok that I see that's come through my algorithm, apparently she made some song about Travis Kelsey's dick. I don't called Wood. And apparently she's dickmatized. And I mean, good for her. I love a big football playing man, and I am a bit of a size queen, so you go, girl. I love that for her. I don't know that it needs its own song. And I've heard that some of the early reviews are a little bit mixed on how they feel about this album, but I'm just a fan of Taylor Swift anyway. I know I'm a Swiftie. I'm unapologetic. I no longer care. I don't I don't care. I just don't care. I don't care. I saw this TikTok of like people were making TikToks about how they didn't care that people wanted to complain about how much they hate Taylor Swift. They're just like, fuck off and go away. I love it. Hello, Kayla. How's it going? Yes, I'm excited to get the Conjuring palette and play around with it. I'm very excited to see how it does. But yeah, it's an odd one for me. But oh, and I brought up Taylor Swift because Phase It, the colorful freckles. I've been trying to use these in a couple videos because I have so many of these, even after sending some to Dion and some to Grace. We did our collab. Definitely go check out our collabs on all 3 of our channels. We did a collab where we each tried the Phase It Freckles. Dion is still traumatized. And so I've been trying to play around with these a little bit more in a couple of lives that we've done. But they did a set of like silver, mint, and orange that is basically the color palette of the new Taylor Swift. So I ordered those, and I ordered there were like rainbow, like a pastel rainbow, basically kind of. So I did order 2 more sets of freckles. So buckle up, Buttercup. You better be ready to see some freckles in videos, because I already had way too many. I don't know why I felt I needed more, but I love that color palette, that orange, mint, silver. I thought that was really fun. So yeah, so there's going to be new freckles coming my way. What else? The only other thing that's on my list is Gourmand Girls. And I don't Gourmand Girls is one of those brands that I love, and I usually end up with their new releases, especially their Halloween or like spooky themed releases. I didn't get that mocha moment or matcha moment, mocha moment. There's a shade called matcha because there was one pop of green, but that was one where I actually like was able to talk myself out where I was like, girl, that is a neutral palette. That one green shadow is trying to trick you. Don't. This Tinder profile, swipe left, swipe left, swipe left. Don't do it. Don't do it. You have to stop. And so I didn't I didn't order the matcha moment, but it's one of those brands that I forget that I actually really, really love them, and I have a fair number. And so I was like, should I do at some point a Thunderdome? Sorry, it's hot in my office. I'm like, oh, should I do a Thunderdome? Because we do have, so Nevermore is the new one. That's the one that's on the way. Yeah, I was very tempted again because sometimes I don't know, one palette is good, order 2. And so I almost ordered that mocha moment, but I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not for you. Not everything is for you. Yeah, I love the freckles are kind of fun. And now I figured out. So here's the deal. There's some things I know that in makeup we always say there's no rules. You can do whatever you want, and that's true to a point. But what I've found between the collab and then using them more and more since then, I figured out that those freckles, you have to follow the instructions to the letter. And if you do, you will get a beautiful, perfect, wonderful application. anytime that I have like veered off or tried to put my own little spin on it, or maybe I didn't have it quite the way that they described it, I was like, well, this will be good enough. Good enough is not good enough. Those favorite freckles are so finicky, but if you follow the instructions exactly the way they're written, beautiful application. So I'm just trying to be more cognizant. The only thing I do is because of my big old face, I cut it into 3 sections. And because the nose piece is not big enough, and so then the cheek ends up starting like on the edge of my nose. So I will cut the nose piece and then I'll do the 2 cheek pieces. And then I can do them one at a time. And that also helps with the because then I can hold this for 60 seconds, this for 60 seconds, and this for 60 seconds, and it gets so much better. Yeah, so we're loving the freckles. But Gourmand Girls, I started to go through my collection, and there's so many Gourmand Girls palettes that I kind of forgot that I have. So do we need to do a Thunderdome? Does there need to be a Thunderdome for Gourmand Girls? Because we have Spooked. This is, I think, this might be the first one that I ever ordered and might have started the love. I've said before that I think that this is one of the best Halloween palettes out there because it gives me the sort of like what I consider the stereotypical Halloween. When I think of Halloween, and Dion, when we were talking about like when I had suggested that Halloween, I really think of like purple, oops, like this kind of purple, this kind of limey, slimy green, and pumpkin orange. Like those 3 colors to me are Halloween. Now, sometimes the purple might be a little lighter than this, but that's what I think of. So it gives me all of those. It gives me a black. It gives me a red. It gives me a matte white. And then it gives me some kind of surprising other fun colors to use with those. But it gives me all of the like signature colors of Halloween. Um, Yes, Joe, if you haven't tried that, it really because me trying to like I don't have my glasses on and I'm trying to like hold these 2 pieces and put the wet thing here and then I'm trying to like have a big long wet thing and I'm trying to hold it and trying to hit all the surfaces. It was team too much. It was team too much. So I was like, I have to just I just have to like I have to have these in sections and do it, and it worked wonders for me. So that's the one thing that I did sort of like go outside of the instructions, but it actually worked really well. So we have spooked, we have haunted. Ooh, so there is haunted. And I like that all of these they're very different, but they have some similar things where you could pair almost any of their palettes together, and especially any of the spooky stuff, you could pair any of the spooky stuff together. Let's see, in the haunted palette. Oh, so this one is actually a purple. It is looking kind of blue on camera, but it's a purple shimmer, and it's got a little bit of shift, and so there is a little bit of maybe blue sparkle to it, but it is definitely a purple. And then, or is this one? So this one is another one where this isn't necessarily blue, but it has kind of a blue turquoisey kind of reflect, but the base is purple. So that's haunted. And then, of course, we have Nightshade, which gives us more purples and more greens. So again, if you kind of casually see them, and when I saw the promo pictures, somebody had taken the 3 promo pictures of Nightshade, Haunted, and Spooked, and I was like, oh, those look really familiar, like really similar. And then when I got them, I was like, oh no, no, they're not. Because even if 2 shades are like almost the same shade, in one palette it'll be a matte, and in another palette it'll be a shimmer. So they're different formulations, or they are different enough that I don't feel like there's duplication. And I think that if you then use palettes together, you could do like a monochromatic emerald green, because one of the palettes is going to give you a matte, the other one's going to give you a shimmer that are roughly the same shade, but they are different formulations. Hello, Locke. How's it going? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're just kind of right now, we're talking through Gourmand Girls because I ordered the Nevermore palette. And this coming right after, I just got this in. This is untouched. This is the Trapped palette from Gourmand Girls. This is actually what I'm planning to film with tomorrow. I'm going to do a little I've still got, I wore them in previous videos, but I think I'm going to bust them out again. My little Audrey 2 earrings. We're going to do a green look, and we're going to do maybe some contrasting colors with the Trapped. I've got a bunch of the glosses and lip products from this collection. And when I ordered Nevermore, I ordered two more glosses as well, because I'm a monster. But yeah, so that's what I'm planning to film with tomorrow, is the Trapped collection. And then we have the Bitten palette. This was their Valentine's release, I think. And this gives very different purples. So all of the purples over there, for the most part, are more either neutral purples, like true neutral purples, or they're more blue leaning, whereas this tends to be much more orchidy, berry, mauve kind of purples. This one is maybe similar to something that's in one of those other Halloween palettes, this kind of dark purple matte. I think this dark red is kind of similar to something in Spooked, but yeah, so we have those. Those are the like Halloween palettes. So 5, and then Nevermore will be 6. How did they get me? I wonder, because I'm such a Halloween fan. I love Halloween stuff. They also had a couple of Christmas/winter palettes. So the first one they did was Silent Night. This one I've done a couple of really beautiful, fun looks with. I love this combination of like browns with bright blue and then yellow gold. Love that. That was really fun to kind of play around with. And then this last year, they gave us Frozen Kiss, which things got crazy, and I still haven't even used this palette. So this definitely needs to get, I need to do a little bit more playing before I can commit to a Thunderdome, but this is really beautiful, but things got weird, and especially for pastels and light shades like this, I just haven't gotten a chance to play with it. And then we have some other things. So we have a couple other, of course, I love a collab. And so the Nueva Vida palette, this is with Steph's Beauty Stash. Is that what it is? Steph's Beauty Stash, yep. And this is beautiful. It's a little bit blown out because it's very neon. And if anybody saw, this was a while back, but actually these earrings that I showed off earlier, there were several videos where I had a look that was basically all purple, but then had a pop of like really fun, crazy green in the inner corner. Sometimes I love to do a weird contrasting pop in the inner corner. That was the Bella Beauté Bar Ultraviolet palette, but then I used this neon green matte and this neon green shimmer from this palette to do that inner corner pop, and it was lovely. Still one of my favorite looks that I have ever done in my YouTube era. Like, absolutely love it. Those purples in that Bella Beauté bar, Deandra Nicole, that palette is so beautiful. I can't handle it. She did such a great job creating those beautiful purples. They're all beautiful. They all work together. They're also stunning. But then adding this like neon green pop right in the inner corner. Oh, loved it. I also have this C'est l'Amour, which is kind of a Halloween. Everything is Halloween. I can't do meal prep. I'm not good at it. Oh, I need to do more bringing food to work. I spend too much on DoorDash, but that's a whole confession for another day. This is something I think I got on sale. I don't even think this is available anymore. This is just a fun kind of Valentine-y, red pink with some fun neutrals kind of thrown in. And then, of course, I bought this, and I think I've used this for a couple things, but not probably enough. This is the Warriors Wear Pink, and I'm also, you can get me with a collab, you can get me with a Halloween product, you can also get me with a breast cancer charity product, because my grandmother, we lost my grandmother to breast cancer, and so that's a cause that's very near and dear to my heart, and so I absolutely had to get this beautiful Warriors Wear Pink palette that she did as a collab with a friend of hers who was also battling breast cancer. So that was lovely. Oh, Janet, tell us, which is the one that you would have trouble getting rid of? Is it one of the ones you've seen, or one? I have 3 more that I'm going to get to. The Peach Perfect. This is also a newer release that I haven't gotten to, but I love I mean, we know I love greens. That's established. We've talked ad nauseum about how much I love greens, but greens with peachy orangey shades, love it, love it. So it hurts my heart that I haven't had a chance to get to this. I think I've swatched a few and played with a few, but like in terms of like doing some dedicated, I think I just had for a while there was like a little smattering because I know I did like a peach and orange look with the I think with the Machina palette, I did one. And then I think I did another one with the Ellis Atlantis. So two Blend Bunny palettes. I ended up doing like peach and orange. And then this just was the third one to come out. And I was like, I can't do peach and orange again. I'm bored. I started moving into more pink stuff. Oh, and so that was beautiful. So this is gorgeous, but I need to get to it. Again, there's so many I have to get to. And these, I had almost kind of forgotten about. These had been in my collection for a while, and these are beautiful, like shimmer palettes. This is the Ethereal palette, and these are like all shimmer palettes. Now, I've done all shimmer palettes, all shimmer palettes. I've done all shimmer looks. And so, you know, there's some deeper tones in here. So, like back in the day, I probably would have made a look out of this. As my makeup style has been evolving, I've really become much more like in love with mattes than I used to be. Now they kind of do all the work. The shimmers show up at the end. They're the girl that like comes in 5 minutes before the curtain goes up. Hey Sarah, how's it going? They're the ones that like show up and like five, or they're the ones like in the group project where they come in 5 minutes before and they talk during the presentation and they act like they did it all. Um, the mattes are the ones that do all the work. The mattes are those A students who they've got the outline done. They did all of their work and all of your work too, just in case. Absolutely. So that's kind of with shimmers. I do sometimes like having these little accent palettes. And the last one I have is Radioactive. This is another one of these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shimmer, duo-y, multi-chrome kind of shimmers. This lighting never really shows the, oh yeah, sometimes I can get, if I can figure out how to hold it, sometimes, yeah, you're not getting any shifts. Yes, I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you, Sarah, for dropping by. And thank you everybody for um the hearts. I saw some hearts going up. So thank you very much for that. But yeah, so these two are in. So I have a lot of Gourmand Girls palettes. So I think at some point I need to play with a few of these that I haven't had a chance to get to. I haven't run into a dud in the Gourmand Girls yet. So Janet, if you haven't seen it, if it wasn't one of those last two, I'm trying to think of what else they've had. You know what? Actually, somewhere, I think I have a palette that was something that they did with Ladybug Beauty. Did they do like two collab palettes that initially were part of a subscription box? And I think I have one that's like some kind of beach palette, and it's got like a deeper bright blue, a bright yellow, and like a limey green. It's a palette like this. So it's probably like a, what's in here, like a 12, like a 12 pan. I think it was something that was shaped like this. But it's got kind of a brown. So I think I have that one somewhere. So I think I even have another one that I got. Is it that toadstool one? I almost ordered that, but I ended up not getting it. It was on sale for like $9 for a while. Was it the one that was very cottage core, like olive green and cream and red? The cover, is that the one? Janet, you're keeping us in suspense. What is it? We have to know. So those are all the orders for now. For now, we'll see if there's any other. I mean, it's only like October 3rd. So there could very easily be more Halloween collections. Be still my heart. But let's talk about the things that came in today. Let's talk about the stuff that came in today. Where did I put it? Oh, I said it right here. So there were 3 brands that I had mentioned that had come in that I'm very excited about. The first one is Hung Vanngo Beauty. Ooh, are you two holding on to the same palette? I'm watching the chat to see what it is. No, the video tomorrow is on Fantasy Cosmetica. I haven't done Gourmand Girls yet. I just, as I was going through and getting ready for this live, I started pulling stuff out of drawers, and I realized that I had way more Gourmand Girls than I think I do. But yeah, so let's talk about Hung Vanngo, because Dion and Grace and I are going to have some pre-filmed videos at the end of the month. October 27th, I think, is the date we're shooting for. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Dion. But I think we're gonna shoot for October 27th. And we are going to do Hung Vanngo looks. So if you've noticed, Dion and I have had makeup play days where we've done looks in the live. I paired the generous green and yellow and the outrageous orange together. And no, I didn't do that. And the rebellious red and pink. So the green and the pink, I put those together and got that kind of Wicked inspired look that was very pink and green. And then we did one where I paired the orange and the red and paired those together. And so then we were like, oh, well, so we've done a couple lives. Now we should do one. And I only had those 3 palettes. And I was like, well, I could pair green and orange because I just said I love that combination. But I was also like, is pairing the green and orange going to give me anything that is that much different than the green and the pink? Because I would probably set it up when I do those kinds of looks. I usually set it up where I have the color, the pink or the orange in the inner part, and I move to the green because usually the greens, it's easier to deepen. And especially with the Hung Vanngo palettes, I feel like the deep shades in the green are deeper than the deep in the orange. So I was like, well, I probably won't go green to orange. So it'll end up looking a lot like the pink look, which was my way of justifying purchasing 2 more Hung Vanngo palettes. And since I was placing the order anyway, it was also a reason to order an eyeliner and a blush. So let's talk about these things that came. They came yesterday. They came yesterday at 9:30 in the morning. And then last night at like 10 o'clock, I got a push notification from Sephora that was like, your beauty is close. And I'm like, yeah, it's close. It's sitting on my desk, bitch. It's been there since 9:30 in the morning. So Sephora's notifications are all over the place. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what she's going through. I've kind of low-key given up on Sephora for the most part. This Hung Vanngo has like brought me back into the fold a little bit, but last year was the first year that I didn't earn Rouge. And I used to be deep in it. Like I had a year, not proud of it, but there was one year where I re-qualified for Rouge in March. And Dion has said the same thing, that she gets a lot of her skincare through Sephora. And I used to get a lot of my skincare through Sephora, and I still get some of it. But now some of it has started to also pop at Ulta, and their like point system is better. So some of that I buy now from Ulta. There's some things that I just buy like cheaper alternatives. Like I'll buy it from Sephora if there's a sale or something. But if I need it and there isn't a sale, I'll sometimes buy an alternative. I've been playing around with some of my skincare, and my skin is like red and unhappy because of it. But that's a story for a different day. So we have 2 Hung Vanngo palettes. So I have what are these? The Brilliant Blue. Dion has played with this on her channel, but this will be my time playing with it. And I was like, let's get something. And I think, Dion, tell me whether or not, if I'm correct, if this is one that you have or not. I ordered the new neutral because I thought that these neutral browns would be really nice to pair with that blue palette. And so I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do it. Let's just dive right in. And because we're doing a blue and brown look, I thought obviously I need to have the blue. This is personal preference. This is the blue eyeliner. And Hung Vanngo, this blush, I did pick up Born from Beauty, which is kind of the peachy orange, the lighter of the peachy orange blushes. There's one that's like orange, and then I also have one that's like a red, like a blood red orange. It kind of looks like Van Gogh red lipstick. But this one was the lighter of the peachy one. So this is Born from Beauty. So I was like, we'll do a blue and brown. We'll do a peach blush. And then I might use Hung Vanngo on the lips, or I might be wild and do something a little different and do something kind of orange and orangey peachy, or something nude to go with the nudes palette. Let me see. So Janet and Joe are not telling us what it is. Not telling us which one you're holding on to. I have to know. Mostly shop at Ulta now. They, of course, Yes, I'm mostly indie, and the stuff that's not indie, I tend to get at Ulta. Their point system is just so much better. So many of the brands are in both or have moved to Ulta or they're Ulta exclusives already. I do much more at Ulta. There's very little that until Hung Vanngo came around, I hadn't placed an order at Sephora in a few months. So yes, the influencers are loving Hung Vanngo so far. Yes, they're being very respectful that Dion has dibs. But yeah, people have been loving it. I have heard the main criticism that I hear, and I heard this, Dion and I both kind of said this as well, is it seems like there's sometimes one shade in a palette, in most of the palettes, not all of them, but in most, especially the colorful palettes, where one of them will just be a little bit harder to work with. It's just a little bit tougher. And so, yeah, so I'm interested to see what my experience is with these two. Okay, so you have blue, black, silver, green, and the warm. All right. So I have green and blue. So those we have in common. And then I now have the neutral, and then I have orange and red. Um, I don't think I'll get the black silver one. I don't think that I will get the warms, but that purple one also has me a little bit interested. So I may end up with 6 of the 8. Oh god. Oh, yes, I really like these. I mean, they're not the indie boom boom pow kind of thing, but they're really good. They're so beautiful to work with. They're so beautiful to work with. Oh, Call of the Sirens. I have Call of the Sirens too. So I have another Gourmand Girls. Is that the one, Janet? Is that the Call of the Siren? That's a beautiful palette. How can I forget that? I did a look with that and I decided to go against the grain. And so I did this look where it's all like pink with a little bit of purple, which was from that palette. So Call of this. God, is there anything else that's? I'm in the process of reorganizing my office and like going through my makeup, and I've got to declutter. I may do declutters on live. You can let me know in the chat or in for replay crew. You rock. Let me know down in the comments below if you want to see declutters on lives. But I used to declutter live on Facebook, so I'm kind of shifting all of my lives over to. Um, Here to YouTube. I'm trying to. I may end up with something like StreamYard or Streamlabs that will allow me to also send it to Facebook. But I've already kind of warned the people on Facebook. I did kind of a goodbye live where I was like, if I can dual stream, I'll dual stream. But if not, Facebook just does not give a shit about live streaming anymore. They do not care. They only save your lives for 30 days now. It used to be like it would convert to a video and it would be on your channel and it would come up in memories and all that kind of stuff. Now they're just like 30 days, download it or eat a dick. We don't care. And so they don't push them like they used to. I'm usually not an early adopter of those kind of like new features and stuff like that. And for some reason, lives on Facebook, I went whole hog and I got super into it. And they used to push it because they wanted people to do the live streaming. So like I would do a live stream. And I've had my Facebook for years and years and years, and I am a performer. So I realized that like when I have about 4,000 friends. But friends, but a lot of them are people they saw me at a show, they add me on Facebook or whatever. But like I would do a live and I would get 1,500 views in 24 hours. Like I used to get a lot of views on Facebook, and it wasn't converted to a business page. It was just my like personal page. And yes, that's how I met Kayla, was through my lives on there. And so, and now I'm lucky if I get like 50, maybe 50 views in 24 hours. And they don't push, they don't notify people. Even people who have your notifications on sometimes don't get notifications. And I know we complain about YouTube notifications, but Facebook is the devil for that. So I gave them a goodbye. I said if I can simulcast, it'll still come here. But if not, find me on YouTube, subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try to move it over here. Mention letters. Yes, yes, Kayla from Lives. I love it. Hello, Dawn. We are still here. We're still doing a little bit of talking. Joe loves declutter. Yes, that's weird when people are just like, can you send that to me? And it's like, I don't know you. if it's somebody I know, we've probably already talked, or they know that like I'll send them stuff if they want it. But when the people who come on and are just randomly like, "Can you send that to me?" And it's like, well, not really. Everything has a home. And also when people come on and they try to tell you that you're not savage enough. And it's like, bitch, these are my things. Like that's the thing is I believe in like trying to curate, and if something's not bringing you joy, Marie Kondo that shit out of your life, all that kind of stuff. But these are my things. So I don't have to get rid of anything that I don't want to get rid of. That is not something I have to do. If I do a whole declutter and we go through the entire collection, I get rid of one thing, that was a successful declutter. What I get rid of is what I get rid of. That's my business. That's nobody else's business. So I hate that when sometimes random people will come on and be like, "That's all you got rid of. That's all you decluttered." And it's like that's exactly what I needed to go to declutter. And let me tell you, after the declutter is over, usually there's between 1 and 3 items that will get, I call it recluttering, where usually I'll have them in a bin where I'm like figuring out where they're gonna end up. And things will just get recluttered because I'll pull it out and I'll start swatching it, and I'll be like, why did I want to get rid of that? What? And of course, sometimes it'll be in a drawer and it'll be next to something that's the same thing basically. And I'll be like, I don't need both of these. I like this one less. I'm gonna get rid of that. But then when it's not next to that thing, I'll be like, why did I want to get rid of this again? What's going on? And then it gets recluttered. And if you do that too, that is just fine. Again, these are my things. These are my things. I paid for them or were gifted them, but I own them. These are my things. And if I want to, and sometimes things will have like a sentimental value. So sometimes during a declutter, I also will send things to kind of the makeup memories. That's my, because I have kind of like the makeup collection that I use, like all my makeup that I work through and that I use for shows and photo shoots and filming and all that kind of stuff. I also have the like memories collection. I think I have one sitting here, or I did. Again, everything is out of place, but I had talked about in a video, I couldn't find it, and then I found it again. It was the NYX palette. I have this NYX blush palette that I used when I was in Hairspray. And I didn't even use it necessarily for my makeup, but when there's that quick change where Edna gets her like makeover and then Tracy gets the makeover and they're in the fancy 60s dresses, that quick change was like 90 seconds. And so basically, I had a very basic kind of makeup look on and a very nude, neutrally kind of pink lip, very 60s. And I had just a little bit of mascara. And so for that first like reveal, we couldn't really do much with the makeup. All I did was I had a liquid lipstick backstage, and I had this little NARS palette that I would keep open so that I could grab the mirror, put my lipstick on while they were basically dressing me. And then in 90 seconds, I came out and did Welcome to the 60s. And like, and it was a lot of fun and it was great. But that, I don't even really like those NARS blushes. The colors that were in there were not great. I think I bought it because I think it's one of the few NARS like holiday blush palettes that didn't have orgasm in it. And just because of the like the novelty of it not having orgasm in it, I decided to buy it. But then I didn't really like it. And one of the blushes got cracked, and but I used it for that show. And so I have the palette just because I love it, because it makes me think of Hairspray. The liquid lipstick, now this is going back in time. At some point, we may make a video about the current transphobic shenanigans of Jefferson Starship. But at the time, this was like 2016. This was way back machine. But I still remember because that color was beautiful. It was a Jeffree Star velour liquid lipstick in Masochist. So if you remember, prom night was like the neon pink, and then there was a darker, like berry pink red that was called Masochist. I have never found that exact shade from any other brand, and it hurts my heart because I'm not buying from Jeffree Star right now anyway. And it's been discontinued for years, and but I love that shade, and I can like see it in my mind. And I'm always on the lookout. That and Harlot from OCC. If you remember Harlot from OCC, those lip tars, that was one they called it a like popsicle neon red. And it looked kind of like when you eat a popsicle and you get that red staining. Beautiful. Those are the two colors that I am constantly on the lookout for. Yes, Dion, send me money for my declutter. And that's I do sometimes sell it like on Facebook. I will sell like mystery boxes where for like 40 bucks, which includes the shipping, I'll send you a box of just like gently used. And I always tell people like you're getting used makeup. I go through it, and if anything is stinky or seems gross or seems off, I throw it away. But when I put those together, everything seems fine. I'm comfortable with it. I will sanitize things before I send them out, but I tell them, know that you're buying used makeup. You're getting what you get. It's sold as is. Don't put yourself at risk. If something seems weird to you, do a patch test or throw it away. You're going to get, I send out big boxes for like 40 bucks. So it's like, you're going to get stuff that you like, but so sometimes I'll do that, but yeah, like send me money for it or whatever. But just like, it's weird when people come on and like, because sometimes I'll get real like emotional weird about it. Yeah, sometimes people are so judgy and they are miserable people. I don't know why they're so mad. If they're just like jealous that like they can't clear out they don't have the like ability to let go of things. And so they have to criticize other people if they feel like they didn't let go, or maybe they're super strict with like letting go. And so then they're weirdly invested in whether or not you can let go of enough. But these are my things. And I've come to terms with that. Now, when I do a declutter, I'm much more comfortable with just the idea of if I get rid of two things, I got rid of two things. I usually get rid of a lot more than that, but even if it doesn't seem like very much when I'm first putting it together, these are my things. If I want to keep them, I can keep them. I don't have to answer to anybody. So if you need that energy, I gift that to you as well. Take it out into the world, and the haters can die mad about it. So yeah, sometimes I rediscover some stuff I was gonna talk a timeout area. Yes, that's the thing is I don't get rid of my declutter makeup very quickly. And that's how those few reclutters happen, is because I like to let it sit. And then when I start thinking about, oh, should I box this up? I'll kind of go through and look at it. So it's kind of the timeout area. And I kind of am like, we're gonna we're gonna maybe see what we think about this. We're gonna maybe we're gonna maybe check some of this out again. So yeah, I love a timeout area. Yeah, it doesn't affect anybody else if I don't get rid of stuff. So why would it matter? But people always gotta have an opinion. I don't social media, I'm sure this was a problem for some people, but I feel like it's become so much more rampant where everybody believes that not only is their opinion valid, and sometimes maybe it is, but they think not only is their opinion valid, but that everybody wants their opinion. That's the thing. If you want to have an opinion, I love that for you. I love that journey. But that doesn't mean that I asked for it. And I, with very few exceptions, unless I really know somebody and I know their heart and I know what kind of person they are, or if I, with these parasocial, like everybody here in this chat, I don't feel this way about them, but like random commenters that come on videos and stuff, I really believe. I remember seeing a meme where somebody had talked about they were in a class and the professor said, unrequested feedback is criticism, period. And I was like, yes, that part. Absolutely. Unrequested feedback, unsolicited feedback is criticism. And so I understand that like the people close to me and the people that I've gotten to know may be like, hey, did you notice this? Or hey, what do you think about this? Or hey, I noticed that maybe my friend Angie is my like unofficial editor for janessaj.com because I'm a terrible editor. I when I get in that writing space, I just want to like bang it out on the keyboard and I want to be done with it. And so I do a terrible job of like proofreading. So she'll always send me texts where she doesn't even explain anything. She'll just have like a screenshot from the website and she'll just circle something in a random color. And then I'm like, okay, those are the errors. And then I'll go back and fix them. But so we have that kind of relationship. Like the people that are here, we talk about stuff and so like, I don't feel that way about the people here, but like random commenters who will just be like, oh, you should have done this, or oh, maybe it would look better this way. And I'm like, bitch, I am iconic. I'm legendary. What are you talking about? Even if this look didn't work out, like I am a legendary creature. Like I'm not sure what you're saying. I don't know if you know who you're addressing. What is happening? And it's here when I'm with the people that I know that that's where that I can take off that like, armor and I can be a little bit more like, oh, I'm a beast. But but for people who like give unsolicited feedback, not here for it. Not here for it. Not a NARS fan. Yeah, NARS, they draw me in somehow, but I'm never impressed when I get it. I don't know why. I don't know why. Yeah, it's very strange. Envy, jealousy, there's something that like gets at them. And I think a lot of people, I mean, this is where I get a little bit corporate speak. And I've talked to friends about this too, is that one of the things that has really helped me navigate social media now, not so much here. I've gotten one maybe negative comment, but it was so like the grammar and like the construction was so poor that I'm not even sure it was a negative comment. I think it was, and then they deleted it anyway. But TikTok, I've started to get some negative comments, and that's the whole like idea of unsolicited feedback as criticism has really helped deal with that, and also the corporate speak of assuming positive intent. Now, people who leave negative comments, truly negative comments, because I get a lot of like "you're a man" on TikTok, and it's like, is there anything about like I wear stark white wigs that glow under black light? Do you think that I'm trying to like pass as a woman? Like, is that what you think is happening? Like, mm, do you hear voices? Is Elvis talking to you? Like, what's wrong? What's happening? But just the idea of assuming positive intent. So if somebody's like, oh, sorry, I thought I saw a little bug or I'm so random. I clearly should be tested for something. I don't ADHD or something, but because I just sometimes I get really squirrely and have a hard time focusing. But so what was I saying? Oh, the criticism where somebody will be like, "Oh, this would have looked really good in blue." Even and that's the kind of thing where even that to me feels a little bit like that criticism. If they say, "Oh, this would have looked really good in blue." Then I'm like, "Well, bitch, it looks really good in green. What is the problem?" If you want to say, "I would do this in blue," that to me, that's fine. And I say that because that's the kind of comment that I leave, is that sometimes I will get inspired by somebody's look and I'll be like, "Oh, this look is beautiful. You look fabulous. I think I might try to recreate this, but I think I'm going to do neon green in the inner corner, something like that." So I try to, and I really try to couch it in the fact of like, I'm not saying that you did this wrong. I'm not saying that your look would look better if you had done it this way. I'm saying, I think you look stunning, but I think to make this work on my face, I would try this color, or I would do this technique, or I would do something different. So, and if I'm really nervous about it, because I try to not be that asshole who leaves that comment, I'll just not leave the comment. I'll just leave the "you look stunning" kind of thing. And I won't say like, "Oh, I'm going to try to recreate this," but I would use a different color, that kind of thing. But I think assuming positive intent, like if something's not the clearly negative comment, if somebody's just saying that like, "Oh, a different color would have been better," or maybe this would look better with your skin tone, or this would have been better to get blah, 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 whatever it is, I assume that they're coming from a good place. I assume that they're coming from a place of they feel like they have something to share. They feel like maybe there's something that I don't know. Now that assumes a lot. You don't know what I know. I've been doing this for quarter of a century just about. So like there's a lot that I know that like it might have been better to ask me, or those kinds of things. But I think just assuming positive intent really kind of helps with that. All right. Yes, I have. So at some point, I may have to do a video on Jeffree Star because it was one of those things where I held out for a while because all of the like stuff that he did way back, now it's like 15, 16, 17, almost like 18 years ago. Like it's really way out in the past or whatever. But um I am one of those people that what I hate, I'm Gen X, proudly Gen X. We're a little bit snarky. We're a little bit like, if it were still the 90s, I'd have a clove cigarette in my hand, but like, we're kind of grouchy and growly. What I hate about millennials and Gen Zs is when they demand apologies that they refuse to accept. That drives me crazy. Do not demand that somebody apologize if you are not going to accept that apology. And people will say, well, you're white, so it's not your apology to accept. And it's like, oh, but it is on some level because I have to decide if I'm still willing to buy from this brand, to buy from this person. whatever. So, like, in that way, it is my apology to decide if I feel like it's worthwhile. So if somebody apologizes, I don't get into all of that bullshit that people get into of it's too soon. They waited, it's too soon, or they waited too long. They were dressed too casually, they were dressed too formally. They cried, they didn't show any emotion. Everybody's got something that they're picking apart with these apologies. And some of them are bad. Like Laura Lee, I mean, the fake crying and all that kind of stuff, that was bad. But for a lot of these apologies, I don't try to evaluate whether I feel like they're being sincere, whether I feel like they mean it, whatever. I look at, does the behavior change? And with Jeffree Star for a long time, he kept getting in trouble, but he kept getting in trouble for different things. And they were not nearly as serious. Like the earliest stuff was the worst, and then he would kind of pull back and correct, and things would seem better, and then kind of seem. So I was never like super like a fangirl or anything where I was like, oh my god, he's the best person ever. But I was like cautiously optimistic, and I think part of the reason why is because number one, his aesthetic is so close to my aesthetic. Those palettes and the packaging and the colors, it's like some of them, it's like they came out of my brain. The Blood Money palette is still one of the best palettes, bar none, that I have ever purchased. Not best green palette, not best monochromatic palette, best palette ever. For color story, for formula, his eyeshadow formulas are great. They are phenomenal. And so I was sort of like cautiously optimistic of like, well, he's not making the same mistakes. But now he has been like actively going on like maggot podcasts, and he's really ripping in. And even when he started with kind of non-binary stuff of like, oh, I don't understand they them. And as a they them, I can say that I was like, okay, well, I get it. I kind of get. I live in North Dakota. Sometimes change is weird. It takes people a while to get online. Um, and so get online to get like on board to figure it out. And some people just actively they use that as an excuse to not ever do the learning and not ever try to get on board. But again, I had seen previous apologies, and I had seen this turned into a weird Jeffree Star. This I'm giving you the whole video that I'll eventually make, um but I just like I wasn't seeing it. And I was kind of, but the non-binary stuff, I was like, I kind of get it. But now he's like actively, he posted some meme where he's like, notice how if you cut off a dog's balls, it doesn't suddenly identify as a woman. Like, I was like, hold the fuck on. I was like, now I'm taking off the earrings. Now we're going to be fighting. Because now he's like actively buying into all this maggot bullshit and transphobia, and I'm having none of it, so I'm done. But I have all of it. We don't throw stuff away. I've said that in many, many videos. In this house, we don't throw shit away. Um, and so, so I have all this. So I thought about doing like a grand Thunderdome because I have every palette except for the new one, the Cowgirl Queen or whatever, that ugly cowboy boot one. I have all of them. I have all the highlighter palettes. And I thought about doing like a grand Thunderdome and talking about Jeffree Star, and also talking about like, and before he got into this like non-binary and transphobia stuff, I thought about talking about the fact that like so much of what I hate that cancel culture has been like co-opted by the right to just complain anytime somebody holds them accountable for actual shitty behavior. But like the sort of calls to cancel people and all that kind of stuff, it always leads to less diversity in the makeup space because nobody knows who the CEO of Revlon is. Nobody knows who the CEO of L'Oreal is. And if they do, they're not looking into who they're giving political donations to. They're not looking into their social media. They're not looking into all of this. These people we're mad at because their social media is part of who their brand is. And if we're not directly aware of it, somebody in the comment section, a little keyboard warrior has made us aware. We didn't do any research. We didn't go look for it. And so that was like when I was in the Jeffree Star space, I did on my old version of my website. I promise I'm going to get off Jeffree Star very soon. But I did like a 5-part series where I really dug into every controversy and tried to like figure out, okay, what was this about? What happened? What actually happened versus what people said happened? Because a lot of times people will tell you, oh, this happened. And I would hear people repeat things that were not actually true. Like I had heard people who were saying stuff that like Kat Von D had did. They were trying to say Jeffrey had done, and so it's a whole long thing. But it leads to all this cancel culture and all this kind of stuff. It leads to fewer queer-owned brands. I mean, Jeffree Star, if he went away, that's one less queer brand. Maybe that's okay. Maybe shitty people shouldn't have brands. People used to go after Chi Chi from Juvia's Place all the time because she used to get a little snarky with people on like Instagram. But the thing is if you come with attitude, you should expect to get attitude back. Now, yes, as a brand owner, you should get your PR in order. If you can't handle your social media, maybe have somebody take care of that. But I think that if you bring ugly, you're going to get ugly back. And I think people should expect it. I never had a problem with Chi Chi's clapbacks. I absolutely had no problem at all. And so that was the thing is it leads to less black owned makeup brands. What if Juvia's Place had gone away? Look at all the great stuff that Juvia's Place had done. And people were just mad at her because she sometimes got snarky with assholes on the internet. Like, it drives me nuts. So I have a lot of complicated feelings, but I'm not currently buying from Jeffree Star. And this whole transphobia thing and aligning himself with the maggots, I do not understand. I do not understand. So sorry for that long rant. I'm going to go back up because I'm sure there's some comments that I have not responded to while I went. I knew that if I didn't like just focus on that, I was going to lose my train of thought. So let's see. Yes, we're going way up here. So Don still has some old J-Star. Absolutely. Most of the lip products, his lip products, they were really good, but they went bad really fast. And so I don't think I might have some of the lip products from the gold palette collection. But other than that, they all got thrown. Or some of them ended up in the memories. Yes, Janet, tell us the 2 palettes that you couldn't bring yourself to give away yet. I would love that. Oh, I love that, Kayla. One of my favorite Facebook groups has set the boundary. I'm not asking for advice, so don't give it. Unsolicited advice is passive aggressive, attempt to control someone. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm especially if it's somebody that I kind of know, even if it's like parasocially, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, if it's somebody I don't know, oh, I'm kind of famous for like flaming trolls on Facebook. It gets heated. Yes, Janet, I've never seen anything that's caused me any sort of issue with your comments. Your comments are always lovely. Um, yeah, Dawn, and that's the thing is I think that it comes from a good place. Like people don't think of it that it could be seen as criticism because again, I think that one thing that comes up a lot, I used to do training for my job, and so when we're interacting with people, this comes up in like HR stuff. Again, I'm getting my weird corporate speak, but um intent is not the same as impact, and that's a really hard lesson for people to learn. It was really hard for me to learn. I'm still sometimes learning that lesson, is that sometimes we have the best intentions, and just because you had good intentions, it doesn't negate the impact. That's why I try to consider where I think people are coming from and like people that I know. But that's why I really try to couch my comments in like, when I try this for myself because of my preference, sometimes it turns into that like YouTube disclaimer talk, which I know people hate, but also I think people do that because they're just trying to be kind and they're just trying to like head off the people that aren't kind. Um, Don, you are not the asshole. I don't go on Reddit on those forums, but you would not be the asshole. Yeah, yeah, Janet, you would not be the asshole either. See a different version because I like the original so much and want to see more options. Yep. The unintentional a-hole club. Um, yeah, I never got that into Jeffree Star's content. I always watched the makeup like collection reveals. I didn't watch a lot of his reviews, although occasionally um back when I was still not as good at like knowing products and how they worked and how they swatched, sometimes I would watch Jeffree Star and Jackie Aina if they did swatches, like if they were doing a review and they did swatches and it was something that I was kind of on the fence because a lot of stuff I just see it and I know I want it and so then I just buy it. But if they reviewed something that I was on the fence about, because they both did beautiful, high quality, high resolution swatches, so Jackie Aina and Jeffree Star were my two go-tos of like, oh, I'm on the fence. Do they have a video about it? But yeah, I didn't watch a lot of his content because it was all that like humble brag, conspicuous wealth. Let me show you all my Birkins and my cars bullshit. I was never into that. Yes, Sarah, apologize when you have the opportunity and be sincere because next time might be too late. Absolutely. And that's why for me, I don't get too much if it's really egregious like Laura Lee, but most of the time I don't try to pick apart somebody's motives because I would say something different than Dion would say it, than Janet would say it, than Dawn would say it, than anybody in here would say. And so we might say it differently, we might interpret it differently. I look at then, okay, what's the behavior after that? What's the behavior going on after that? Because a lot of people said, like, oh, well, he also then just goes after Black creators. And that wasn't exactly true, at least in my interpretation. I know we're getting back to Jeffree Star. I'm so sorry. I swear I've got more makeup. But the thing was, is that like when you really dug in, because like I said, I did this like 5-part thing, is that he attacked any creator that he felt like was competition. Because there's something about Jeffree Star. It seems very clear that he is insecure. And anybody who he thinks is even approaching where he's at, or maybe is above where he's at, he immediately attacks and goes after them. We've all seen the Dramageddons. We've seen all the friendships and the whatevers fall apart and the clout chasing accusations and all this kind of stuff. And so, yeah, he went after Makeup Shayla. He went after Jackie Ina. He also went after James Charles. Little did we know about that. It turns out they're all probably shitty people. He went after Toddy. He went after, oh God, gray hair, silver hair, the young one that like Gabriel Zamora. So he like goes after every influencer that he sees as like competition. So to me, for my interpretation at least, that didn't feel like it was a sort of race-based bias. It was he was attacking everybody. If they weren't like team Jeffree all the way, that relationship fell apart and then he would attack them. So that to me is a different kind of behavior. And so other people have a right to, if they feel differently about that, absolutely, that's valid. We don't have to agree on that, but that's just the way kind of I interpreted it. But yeah, absolutely be sincere because you might not get another chance. People saying hi, hello, Sarah. Oh, let's see. Someone apologized to me, and then the next sentence gave excuses for their behavior. An apology followed by excuses isn't an apology. That's also a very hard lesson to learn, and that's something that I certainly have struggled with, is because depending on what it is, there have been some things that I have done, and and even if I apologized, I'm like, I did do that, and I meant to do that. Now I'm apologizing for it, but sometimes, like, if there's a misunderstanding, I understand that because I have that pressure to be like, I'm so sorry. Like, this is why I did this. Like, this is what I was thinking, or this is what led to that. And I've started to realize that all it does is undermine your apology. So, like, that's a hard one for me, is because that's one thing that I value is like being understood. And so, like, I want to like give the like context and give the background. And there are situations where I do think context matters, but I think that during the apology is not when the context matters. So even if at some point you circle back and you postmortem and you talk through it, I know I'm such a I've been in the corporate world too long. I sound like a memo, but um, I think that context sometimes does matter, but that's not the time or the place. So that's what I would say for that. Um, exactly what I say. We don't know what L'Oreal and yes, all those big brands, nobody's looking into what any of those CEOs are doing. It's so much easier to have it served up for indie brands, for queer-owned brands, black-owned brands, women-owned brands. I mean, look at as much as like it has also impacted my shopping behavior. I don't shop from Ensley Rain because they were doing all of that transphobic liking online. And like I understand that that's a privilege of like somebody like let me know about this, and I'm not digging into what the other CEOs of other companies are doing. But also transphobia that hits close to my heart. I'm a non-binary person. I know a lot non-binary. Apparently, I can't say it even if I can be it. Um, I have a trans family member. I have tons of trans friends. And so these new attacks on trans people, that's a line for me. And I know that everybody has different lines and they have different things that they are going to put up there. Is that for me, like the blatant transphobia with Jeffree Star, I was like, now we're at a place where we have to be done. I don't even know if an apology for that would do it for me. I think that in this time, choosing to like go after that group. Same thing with Ensley Rain, where their apology was basically like, "Oh, we're sorry, we did this on our business account. That should have been kept private." And I'm like, "Bitch, that is not an apology, and you can fuck right off." And I have not Ensley Rain. They have some beautiful products. Sometimes they have some beautiful products. There's also the like AI art controversy where they said they stopped using it, but then people have said that maybe they haven't. For me, that has never entered it much because now, ever since the transphobia, I'm like, they have to be out. I have a couple of their palettes. We don't throw shit away, but you'll notice they haven't come up in any videos. I may gift them to somebody. We'll have to see. Let's see. And now I'm probably getting way behind on comments, but her, Janet had his liquid lipsticks. Oh, they were so good. I think now better formulas have come out, so that helps me with that a little bit. But they were one of the best formulas on the market at the time, and he was one of the only brands that was doing turquoise and white and green and navy, deep navy blue. And so it really was a hole in the market that nobody else was filling. Um, Thank you, Dion. You appreciate that. It's refreshing that I'm speaking about it. Some people are hesitant to even say his name. And that's the thing. That's the other reason I think that kept me going for a while is I was like, there are going to be some people who don't know about all this history, who don't care to do the research or whatever. And I thought all the people that were on YouTube that I was seeing were either the burn him at the stake, carrying torches kind of people, or the stands who are like, he can do no wrong. His products are the best. They're the best ever. And I've tried a lot of his products and I know that they are not all the best. And so I was like, if I try this stuff, then I can be somebody who's like, this is how I feel about the products themselves, but I am at a place now where I recognize that that's not the journey. I don't feel any joy because I also, when people are talking about, do you support this person? Do you support this person? Do you support this person? I support this person. And if makeup brings me joy and I can like come to a place where I am comfortably uncomfortable and I can explain my reasoning, again, give that context, then I'm okay with that. And if people want to go, they can go. Not everybody is for me. I'm not for everybody. But now I'm at a place where it doesn't bring me joy. It doesn't, even though that Blood Money palette that I love more than any other palette in my collection, I don't feel joy using it. So yeah, absolutely love to talk through it. Yes, an apology followed by but it's not apology. Some changes. She must have made some changes because I haven't heard anybody complain about her. If that's the Ensley Rain, yeah, I don't know. She just said that like she shouldn't have done it publicly. So I think she just moved it all privately, but she never apologized for like being a transphobic asshole. Yeah, Don, the Jeffree Star lip stuff, it's really inconsistent. Some of them go old really bad and really fast, and some of them stay pretty good for a while, but it's really inconsistent. Night Before. Ooh, ColourPop Nightmare Before Christmas and Clarity Berry Royal. I know the Nightmare Before Christmas. I thought there was a Gourmand Girls. Janet, did you ever tell us the Gourmand Girls one that you couldn't get rid of? I thought there was one that you couldn't. Oh, right. Sorry, I haven't gotten to it. Squirrel. The one Gourmand Girls palette I don't want to let go of even Star Eyeshadow. My first declutter. Calavera. I don't know if I've seen that one. I don't think I saw them. I don't think I knew about them till later. Janet is always like dropping names of brands that I don't know, and then I go look at their stuff and it's real good. So like pay attention to Janet's content because she's got, and if you follow her on Instagram, first of all, that dog is adorable and brightens my day all the time. But Janet, you are always dropping like names of brands that I'm like, what's this? Who's this? And I'm trying to narrow down my number of brands, but sometimes I'll go and I'll be like, oh, I have to. I had that situation with my chosen sister. I had an unjust attitude and snapped immediately after I knew I was wrong. I apologized and said where it came from and ended with what I was. Yeah, like I do sometimes think that context really does matter, and sometimes it's not. Um, yeah, it's not about making excuses. It's about trying to explain. Like, we recognize that we didn't come as our best self, and so we're trying to be like, I don't know, for me, like, and again, I had to let it go, and I had to say, "Well, maybe we can talk about that later." Because for me, it was like, I'm trying to acknowledge that I did a bad thing, and I'm trying to let you know how I got there, is, I think, kind of what it is for me, of, like, wanting to be understood, of, like, I'm not in any way saying it's an excuse, I'm not saying it wasn't wrong, I'm just telling you that it's almost like I'm also kind of working through my own thought process of how I got to that place that was wrong. And that to me feels useful. But I think that for some people it's not useful. They just need the apology, and they need, but also, like, the whole going back to, like, the millennials and people that demand apologies that they won't accept, is also that then they'll pick it apart, and they're like, well, they shouldn't have been dressed up. Oh, they shouldn't have been dressed casually. Well, they shouldn't have cried. Well, they should have showed more emotion. All this. And even if you, like, refute that, of, like, well, but maybe they were emotional. Maybe that's how they were feeling. Eventually it always gets back to the same thing. And this is where I'm just like, that's where I lose respect for that person, is that eventually they'll say, well, they shouldn't have done the thing in the first place. Yeah. No shit. That's why they're apologizing, because they recognize that they shouldn't have done that thing in the first place. So they're apologizing for it. Like, that's what drives me mad, is that when people eventually get to this place of, well, they shouldn't have done that. Well, if you feel that way, that they never should have done it, and you can never forgive them because they did it, then don't demand an apology from them. Because you're saying, I need you to do this thing for me, but I'm never going to accept it, and it doesn't matter. Then it's not sincere. That's why we get all those bogus bullshit apologies that are written by PR teams that are all like, we're going to take time to learn and grow. And we know that we've disappointed you. And it's all the same. It's like a boilerplate at this point, because people demand it, but then they refuse to accept it. And it's like, what do you want? Oh, I've been talking for so long. Thank you so much, everybody who's been sticking around, especially for that long Jeffree Star rant. So if you eventually see a video come up on my channel where I say I'm talking about Jeffree Star, just know you've had a little preview. All right, let's see if I'm missing anything else. Wet and Wild, awesome liquid lip. I do sometimes like the yeah, I didn't have the shade range. I do sometimes like the Wet and Wild liquid lips. Just like I bad mouth, the same for me. Gloss Gods based on Bad Assumption. Oh yeah, I remember that, the with Gloss Gods, because they did put up something that, and I think that did get kind of twisted, and that's why whenever I hear bad things about a brand, I always try to find the original source and try to go back and research. I'm also a nerd, but so I love to do that kind of researchy deep divey thing. But like with Gloss Gods, they put up a whole thing, and they did a special sale where you could put in the discount code orange is not our shade. And they did this, and it was absolutely anti-Trump. But I think a lot of people then, if they were kind of Trumpy, if they were maggots, then they said Gloss Gods is being un-American, like they're anti-American, they hate America, they're not going to ship to America, and like went on this kind of thing. And it was like, no, they recognized that most of us are hostage here in this country, don't have the opportunity or the means to leave. And so they interpreted it that way, and it's like, no, they were just saying that we understand that you're having a hard time right now, we're going to give you a discount code. Like, because, so yeah, it was a weird situation. um yeah, don't double down. That's weird for me, is when people double down. There's very few times. The only time where I don't agree with that about not doubling down is if I really, really believe that I'm correct, and I am a Capricorn, and I can hold a grudge until I am cold and dead in the ground. And there are times where if I believe that I'm right, I would much rather. I used to say to my ex-husband jokingly, I used to say, you can choose to be right or be happy. And that's how I am with some like petty internet arguments. If I am absolutely convinced that I am right, I will double down, triple down, quadruple down. I will like mortgage the house, bet I'll put it all on red. Like, I'm ready to go there. But yeah, when people try to apologize, but also, or if they just kind of double down and they don't really understand it, like, that's bad. That's bad. All right, so we've got a couple other things. I know we've been on here a long time, and I'm worried that we're going to get to that like hour and 50 minutes, and it's going to get weird. But we also, so the other two brands that have been sitting here waiting for their moment, Trixie Cosmetics originally had their Brittany Bluesky collab. So this is that palette, very neutral, but I am such a Trixie girl, and I love Trixie blushes. So this is going to be fun. And then I love doing Get Ratchet with Me's where I have the colors picked by a random like blind box toy, which we're gonna have a blind box toy unboxing. Those the button eyes. Do I have that little button eyes here nearby somewhere? No, I don't think I do. I think I moved it to I put it in a box over there. I I found two more of those button eyes and then a coworker. I I don't understand the rage around Labubus. I mean, I do because the reason why I wasn't interested in getting a Labubu is because I am old enough. I was here for the Beanie Babies, and I remember that craze, and I remember how it ends. I remember how it ends where nobody cares about Beanie Babies anymore, and like they're just all over your house, and people try to sell them, and there's like the market has dropped out, and there's like 50,000 for sale of the same one, and nobody wants it, and it's ridiculous. I remember the fallout, but a coworker of mine is super into Labubus, and he sent me one. I had this big project that it's a long story, but I had to take it on. I was the only one that was available, but I had a bunch of work already. And so then everything that I was doing got passed off for like a whole week so I could work on this project. And now I've got all these people who are like mad because all their stuff is late or whatever. And it's like, I'm sorry, but this was stuff that was going up to like not the CEO, but like the second in command. So it was one of those things of like, we have to drop everything. We have to just do this. And I was really the only one who was available to do it because we had one team member who's been out on leave for a few months. And one of us was away at like a conference. So he didn't even have his editing, all of his editing stuff with him. I do video editing. And so, and our other team member had just other commitments that couldn't handle. So it was like, I guess I'm doing it. And so he sent me a Labubu because he's super into Labubus. So we're gonna do an unboxing. I went to Five Below and bought some little like blind box toys, just little $5 Disney horror kind of ones that I think will be kind of fun. And then two of those button eyes, and then a Labubu. We'll end with the Labubu. I can bond with the youths over my Labubu. But so all that to say that I'm planning to do a Get Ratchet with Me. I was buying some stuff on eBay for a calendar project that I will talk about on this channel a little bit later in the year. Not this weekend, but next weekend. We're doing two photo shoots so that I can finish the project. This is a project I've been working on for years. Kayla, if you're still here, you know that you know what it is. And so I'm working on a clue series and a calendar. So I was buying some little things that are going to be part of that. And one of the sellers had a McDonald's toy that was still in the packaging. And the way they showed the picture, you couldn't see, but it was like a Barbie McDonald's toy. And I was like, I'm going to buy that and open it, and I'm going to make a look out of it. And so we'll give you a little preview here for those who are here in the chat. The Barbie that I got was Birthday Surprise Barbie. And so you can see she's very beautiful, very peach. And so because she has that beautiful brown hair and brown skin, I'm going to combine neutral browns with peach and a little bit of creamy white like the pearls. And then she's got that fun present that's like blue and green. And so I thought that's a perfect opportunity to use this palette along with, do I have it sitting here? I think I do. What's that one? Rebellious Red Pink. Oh, where did I put it? I think I put it over here. Yes. So the oranges, this orangey peach palette, and then the Brittany Broski Trixie Cosmetics. So these two together, and then I'll pull another palette, maybe the Hung Vanngo green or the blue. But I thought I'll put like an inner corner pop of either that green or that blue. But I just thought this was a fun toy, and I thought it was a fun excuse to use this palette with the Hung Vanngo. So this was a fun little surprise, and she was selling it for like $5.50, and this is like from the early '90s, so like it's vintage. So I thought that was it. So I opened it. So I've already filmed the intro, obviously, because I've opened the toy. But so that's going to be a look that's coming to my channel at some point. Yes, if there's a doubt, own it. I like that, Janet. Yeah, I only double down if I'm pretty certain that I'm right. Oh, the Beanie Baby warehouse. Yeah, trying to understand their perspective, understand where they're coming from. Yeah, I think sometimes being able to get together, I think that can be very healing. If somebody has hurt you, but if they really do have good intentions and they really are trying to fix it, I think sometimes that context and trying to understand that can be helpful for that. Yeah, Labubu, that's the U's. That's those little Gen Zers, Gen Alphas. They're all about the Teresa is dead has been all about the Labubus, but um, for us older folks, it's not as important. Sorting through their pile of Beanie Babies. Oh my God, in a divorce, I can't even imagine. Yeah, I really did Google. Yes, yes, Kayla, the Clue calendar is finally coming. Yes, my Barbie, very pretty. Um, yeah, I have too. That's one thing is that like sometimes I'll meet people and they're like, "You're really zen about a lot of this stuff." And I'm like, "That's because I'm fucking old." Like, I've been doing this for a long time, and I live in North Dakota where it's nothing but like awful racist white people. Like, it's taken me a while to get here, and it's amazing that I have turned out to not be just another asshole from North Dakota. And there are wonderful, beautiful people here from North Dakota. I don't want to make that claim that there isn't, but it's a lot. It's a lot. We go like 70%. We went like 70% Trump in the last election. So that tells you that when you're walking down the street, 7 out of 10 people might be assholes. Like that's the kind of gauge that I'm working with. And so I've seen a lot of bad behavior. And also, this is so like beside the point, but also one thing is when you look like this, when you look like the potato face serial killer, when you have this complexion, awful white people will just assume that you are on the same page as them. And people will just come up to you in stores, at the bus stop, at the library, wherever you, not that those people are at the library. I shouldn't make offhand comments like that, but it's also true. But people will just come up to you at the grocery store and like make the most racist, vile, homophobic, transphobic, whatever comments and just assume you're going to agree with them. It's wild. And so I wear right now I'm just wearing this like plain tee or whatever, but I often wear like I wear a lot of horror t-shirts, but I used to have a lot of t-shirts. I got rid of them after the first Trump presidency because a lot of them were specifically about Trump and I was like, I won't have to worry about that again. And I'm regretting that choice. But I like to wear things that like try to signal like I am a safe person. And like if you are one of those maggots, I'm not a safe person. Like I'm or sometimes I'll dye my hair funny colors because that's the stereotype, right? Of the blue-haired non-binary. Like I'll be a blue-haired non-binary for you if it'll keep you the fuck away from me and keep you from saying awful racist bullshit to me, then I'll do that. I volunteer as tribute. Like I just so I've had a long time to like work through a lot of this stuff, and a lot of it has been hard, and a lot of it there's been some ugly lessons, and I'm probably lucky that a lot of my like learning and growth moments were when social media wasn't a thing, because now everything's recorded, everything's in the Wayback Machine, the internet is forever. I don't think I ever did much that was really really bad. I mean, one thing that I will talk about is that something that I used to do, and I it's hard to even just explain. It was just part of the culture, but again, that's making an excuse. Was I used to use the T slur for trans people, and it was just, I mean, that if you remember, like back in the day, if anybody used to watch Project Runway, I remember it was right in the middle of all of that, where one of the big like sayings in culture was to call something a hot tea mess. And that was just it just flew off the tongue. And as somebody who had been called a fag since I could hear and understand language, I was pegged as the gay kid super early. And then when they had evidence, they were like, "Is it true?" And I was like, "What? What? You've been calling me that for decades." But I used to say hot tea mess all the time, not even thinking about it. Not even thinking about it. I never had anything, and this is not to like toot my own horn or anything, but I never had anything on the old internet or like early days where I use the N word, because that I figured out pretty early. I was like, that's in group language that I am not a part of. I am not a part of. I do sometimes understand some of the young, dumb kids who think that because they are like because in group language, right? If you're in the group, you can use it. If you're not in the group, you can't. But I think sometimes people don't understand because they hear it in music so much. And I think they think, well, I'm part of this fandom, I'm part of this community in this way. And so then they'll decide, well, yeah, I can use that because they're using it in a not derogatory way. And it's like, no, 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 no. That that does not make it okay. I figured that out pretty early. But using the T slur without even a thought, using the R word for developmental disabilities, there, I mean, not that I didn't just like walk around saying it or anything, but as somebody who was teased and bullied, I was probably more careful in my language than a lot of people that I grew up with. I was just more aware because of my experience. Um but I certainly use the R word from time to time. Like, it's one of those things where I understand that like that's not what was on my heart. That's not like what I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to cause harm, but that doesn't change the impact. That doesn't change what that impact was about. Yeah, yeah. Didn't this start with makeup? Uh, I love it. I think I'm already behind on comments again. Let me see here. So preview, she's so pretty. Yes, McDonald's Retro Barbie. Very excited. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. Um, no, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. As somebody who has struggled with mental health and like self-harm ideation, I am proud to say that I'm old at 47 because there was a time in my life where I didn't think 47 was possible. I didn't think 40 was possible. I didn't think 30 was possible. It also, that's part of why there's no adults steering the ship, is because when you don't imagine that you're going to be around at a certain point, planning for the future doesn't like come naturally. But yeah, I'm proud of that. Like I wear old as a badge. I'm 47 and proud. Um, you are delightful and you are as young as you feel. My boss said S9 shiz. I don't even know what that is. That's I don't I can't keep up all the time. Thank you, Dion, as well. Um, yeah, when you work places, because I've worked retail. It's been a while since I've worked retail. So now, as much as I sometimes joke about being a corporate drone, it does isolate you from things like retail. And let me tell you, oh, we're gonna get to that in a second. Let me just make sure. Um, Male-dominated conservative industry. Yeah, that can be tough. Yeah, the conversations go all over the place. Refreshing. Yeah, it's just where my brain goes. And that's why I love lives. That's why I got into lives super early on Facebook, is I love the way it just kind of meanders and you get into all kinds of deep stuff. Um, yeah, yeah. I'll stop saying that I'm old. I'm Gen X. That's one thing I will always say, that I'm proudly Gen X. Yeah. Oh, what was that? Retail. Oh, can I tell you my thought? So I still have a lot of pent up retail rage because I worked retail for a long time. I worked book retail, and like book people are weird. And I say that as a book person who recognizes I'm like, what's her name? Fruza Bulk in the craft. We are the weirdos, mister. Like, I accept that for myself, but like book people are a little bit odd. And then I worked at a college bookstore and I got laid off. So that before I started my current job, my last job before I started my current job, which I've been at now for like 12 years. But I worked for 3 years at a college bookstore that was run by Follett. Follett and Walden Books, the two companies I worked for. Amazon has made things very difficult. Obviously, we know that Amazon changed the book industry. So at my company, I was in the first round of layoffs for that particular store. We ran like a $2 million textbook thing, but it was all of this like company wide kind of cutting stuff. And I got laid off, and that's fine. And I understood that it was like not the fault of anybody who worked at that store. It was absolutely not the fault of anybody who worked at that store. They didn't deserve any, because I know that sometimes layoffs are weird. And if you've seen that show Up in the Air with George Clooney and Anna Kendrick, Like, that's why they have sometimes those things feel really heartless and really cold, but I get it because sometimes people find out they're being laid off and companies never do it. Like, there's never any notice, there's never any kind of, because they're worried that you're gonna, like, steal company secrets or, like, steal office supplies or trash the place or whatever. And so they always it's very cold, it's very immediate, and then, like, I was told that I could go to my desk and get, like, any kind of immediate personal items that I could just grab, but that I would have to come back supervised later to clean out my desk, and once I grabbed those items, I was perp walked out the door. Like, I had the assistant manager had to, like, at my side, I mean, she didn't hold my arm, but it was like one step away from that. I had to be perp walked out the door. And so when I was walking out at our little bookstore in the front, there was this table that they used to pile all of these books on. And I remember that it was near when we were having a writers conference. And so there was a lot of books, but there were a lot of little poetry books. Our English department did a writers conference, but it was all these little poetry books. And this table was kind of big and clunky, but it was really rickety. It was really old. And in my head, I had this flash where I was like, if I flipped that table, I was like, first of all, the legs would break off that table. And I was like, I could walk out and just leave a mess. And in my head, I could see it so clearly because the assistant manager of the store, 98 pounds soaking wet. She was not going to stop me from doing anything. And I really had this, like, I was like, I could flip that table that's always driven me crazy at the front of the store. I was like, all you would have to do is step 2 steps to the side, boom, and just like Teresa Judice on the Real Housewives, prostitution, whore, like just flip the table. And I didn't do it. And I've always wished that I had some sort of big, and like I had to close down Walden Books. Like, I was one of the last employees. I was one of the key holders. So like we had to close that down. That was heartbreaking because a lot of us had worked there I'd worked there for 10 years. Most of them had worked there 15, 20 years. So like that was heartbreaking. And I've always wanted to have a big retail revenge moment. So all of that leading to now where I'm like, usually my weekends are free. I was like, I should get a job at a place where I would be a good employee. I would be a good employee. I would do the work. I would put it in and I would work my weekend shifts because I know they're always saying people are having trouble getting help. And I would work my weekend shifts. And then the first Karen who steps to me with a bad attitude and expired coupon, thermonuclear, and just like read them to filth, whether it's a male Karen, whether it's a Chad or a Karen, like just listen here and just like get into it. And I was like, then I'll be fired. And I was like, so it has to be a place that I'd want to work there and want to spend, like, get the discount while I was employed. Cause like I said, I would, it would be it would be a mutually beneficial where I would be a good employee until it happened. And then I would lose it and get fired. And then I started to think, I was like, what if after it happened, they took me into the office and I just like got out my community theater, like acting skills to be like, I'm so sorry. I just am under so much pressure. And like, what if they didn't fire me? What if they just like wrote me up? And then I was like, then I could wait for the next Karen. And I was like, how many times do you think I could get away with it before they actually fired me? And so I was like, I have wanted to, because I am not afraid to perpetrate retail justice. If I'm behind somebody in line and they are nasty to a cashier for no reason, I will read them to filth in the store. But that doesn't happen often enough. I'm like spoiler. I'm in the grocery store, like looking for a fight. That's the world we live in. Like I'm so on edge all the time that I'm just looking. And so, but that's the thing is, I was like, that could be my retail vengeance because I was like, I don't need a part-time job. Like I've got a job. I don't need a part-time job. But yeah, so that's if you hear about me getting a new job, you heard it here first. You know that it might be it might be. Yeah, it is good to discuss things. That's why I love that these can just be open and they can go all different weird places. Yes, I think everybody should work retail at least one time in their life, and everybody should work some sort of food service at some point in their life. I think that it's kind of like some countries have compulsory military service. I think having to work retail and food service, I think that should be our compulsory military service. Yeah, sticking to makeup brands. I'm not sure what that was necessarily in reference to, but absolutely. I feel like I do that. I'm always kind of chasing that grind, right? Of like trying to get reposted, trying to get comments, trying to get likes from brands. And so like it sometimes like forms my content in weird ways. That's that that's it took us in a different direction, but um yeah, food service. I worked at like a cafeteria style restaurant that was not only food service but also tourism. I did that for 2 summers. Oh, gotta watch out for the pet sitter people. Dawn, Dawn, are you being sneaky? What are you doing? What's going on? And they're just ooh, Dawn is causing corporate intrigue. I love it. Yes, I have a plan. Yes, I would love it if I could sell tickets, but I never know when it's gonna happen. But I thought Bath and Body Works because I would love a discount there. I buy a lot of their stuff, but I do all my shopping online. I don't like going into the store because the store usually the scent is so overpowering I get a headache. So I order online and I was like, well, I could work there and get the discount for as long as I could stand it. And people are coming in there with discard with like expired coupons. So like they're ready to fight. So I was like that and I was like, Bath and Body Works. I wonder how many times they would let me get away with it. But so that's it's in my brain. We'll see if it happens. My bucket list. It is. I want some retail justice. Oh yes, yes. Lots of people have worked for retail and food service. Okay, so I also have talk about more lip liners. Again, everybody's been coming out with lip liners because the Trixie Brittany Broski. Now her lip liners, the caps always come off. So this is the Glamour lip liner, and then this is the lips. So I might actually use this lipstick with the look, um, and so it's kind of this like beigey neutral brown, kind of toffee brown. It's kind of pretty. I like it. I'm excited. And then after all of this, let's talk about the last one. This is the release I'm most excited about because it's a Blend Bunny release. Blend Bunny, they have my heart. I absolutely love them. Now, they are the first brand. Well, not the first brand. So, the first brand since I've been on YouTube that has ever given me PR. I do have to say, I did get a couple of PR packages way back in the day when my website was a bigger thing. I used to get a lot of traffic on my website, and Lit Cosmetics sent me some glitter for me. They sent me some glitter to give away. They moved into Sephora for a while, so they had given me some glitter to like review on my page. And then when they moved into Sephora, they sent me some of the lit kits that they came up with for Sephora, and we did an interview. The owner Jody and I. So I had gotten PR there, but since joining YouTube, Blend Bunny, after I did my Thunderdome ranking, she did send me their next release, which was the Machina palette. And she also sent me that contour palette, the Forget Me Not palette. And so I do have a soft spot for them because I've just been loving their stuff anyway. I was already loving their stuff, and I was so appreciative that they picked me out of the rough. And now they've talked about how they're switching up their PR list and they're looking for people who really like go hard for the brand. And I was like, I already do a lot of Blend Bunny content. So I was like, it's not even really an adjustment. So I'm super excited. So everybody cross your fingers and toes. But the newest collection, I'm very interested to see what I'm going to come up with for this. The Rotten collection. Microsoft, May Pang. This is her. Oh, Messy Office and Blinding. Sorry. So this all matte palette, a little bit, some grungy shades, some more muted shades. But I've seen so many beautiful, beautiful, beautiful looks. I'm so excited to play with this. And also, I watched Allie Dawson, her video, and I had seen other people kind of talk about it, but it was the first time I had really seen it. The Efflorescence palette is like 6 iridescent topper shades. They're all going to look white in this lighting. I'm so sorry. Sometimes, yeah, not even the reflection. So all of these have like an iridescent shift to them. And Allie Dawson combined these with the mattes, and it looks just as beautiful as any Blend Bunny shimmer. So very excited. And then of course the Blue Tears gloss. Um, yeah, so that's kind of the mini haul that's come in. Yes, the Rotten collection. I'm excited. It's so not my typical thing, but I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna have something coming soonish with this. Tomorrow I'm filming with the Trapped collection, but I think the next time I film, I might. Oh, but I have to film with Hung Vanngo too for our October. There's gonna be lots of content this month, and I'm gonna be very tired. Don't look for me anywhere on November 1st. I'm gonna be asleep. Yeah. Ooh, what brand, Janet? I'm interested. I'm always open. Like that's the thing is I'm always open to PR opportunities because I mean, I spend a lot of my own money. That's the thing is I'm not looking to become the next Jaclyn Hill. I'm certainly not looking to become the next James Charles for all kinds of reasons. And so like I'm not looking for that, but if I could get on some people, that's like the goal, right? That's the dream board. If it doesn't happen, I'm still every video that I put out is a win. Every live stream where we have these fantastic conversations is a win. But if we can talk about like dream board kind of stuff, I would just love to get PR from like my favorite brands. Oh, I think you've mentioned them before. Is it Monday? Like, do you say the U, say the V like a U, like they do? What's the other brand that does that? Or no, was it Give Beauty that did something like that? Yeah, if you want to contact and say like, hey, here's Janessa's channel, I'm absolutely okay with that. Um, Dawn, are you the only one that wants it? I don't think you're the only one. Okay, Mandy. Um, I don't think you're the only one that wants the Natasha Soft palette, but I immediately fell into a coma when I saw that. I just Natasha Denona is another one of those that like occasionally she has something really fun, but even like the green, I don't have the Yucca palette because like that green palette, I was like, okay, it's green, but is it? Is it? I'm not really sure it is. I'm not sure if it is. I don't know that it is. And so Natasha Denona, I've really come to the place of like there are certain brands that are just not for me. Pat McGrath, I had fun. I'm so glad that Grace and Dion and I did that. That purple packaging got me, but that's how I should have known that it was a bad idea because I liked it for the packaging more than the shades. But that the purple packaging got to me. And Natasha Denona, Pat McGrath. I have some Charlotte Tilbury things that I've actually been kind of liking, but a lot of those more on the higher brand, closer to luxury, I just am not. Hello, Michelle. Hello, welcome. Welcome back, Annaboo. I don't know if you've been lurking or if you came back and joined us again. I know we've been here for a long time. Thank you for the hearts. Mandy Beauty. Yeah, like I said, I'm always open to if people want to send me something to try out, I'm here for it. I have tried some other things. The Lipstick Apocalypse is a brand that's no longer around. She did send me a few things, but that was for my website. That was before I had a. That was as I was getting ready to start the YouTube channel, and I was going to do a video talking about them, and then she kind of shut down her brand before the YouTube actually started, and so I did something on my website, but I didn't do anything. On my and now like the Crystal Smyth. So when I ordered my stuff, I did that video and I sound like one of those dumb YouTubers, but I also don't really understand exactly sometimes how I fit in with all those regulations because it was nothing formal. I placed an order from the Crystal Smith and he just like threw in two extra things. So I'm like, technically that's PR, I guess, but it's not like he didn't send it of like, here, let me send you this thing. And if you want to review it, review it. If not, there's no obligation. He was just like, oh, you have good taste. I made you a couple extra things to go with this thing. So I was just like, we have an ad partnership relationship on Instagram. I don't even really know what that means, but my face, let me tell you, I jump scared myself. I don't know if anybody else saw my ad for the Crystal Smith mystery boxes on Instagram, but my mom even, Mama Champagne, we love her. My mom was even like, yeah, I'm seeing your face a lot on Instagram. And I was like, was that, is that okay? I'm sorry to have inconvenienced you. But yeah, so I saw myself a lot. Mama Champagne saw me a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of people love it. And if you love neutrals, that's the thing is I do love sometimes a neutral palette. I love a neutral release, but I've just realized that unless there's something really interesting, an interesting twist, I have all the neutrals that I love, so I just don't really need it. Yes, hello Michelle and Annaboo. Steelers go sports ball. That's football, I think. Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe? Do you like pressed glitter or what? I love water activated. So I do my eyebrows with water activated liner. So every time I do my eyebrows, I put shadow on top, and that's how I get that glittery, shimmery ombre. But yeah, the base is always water activated liner, and I don't always show it in the video, but like my drag 101 tutorial, I show all of the spots. And so I love water activated liner. Pressed glitter, I don't mind it. I prefer loose glitter. um, but no, so nothing in Grand Forks is that far away. So like I don't mind being at the office late, because this is not only where I do my like big kid job, but it's also where I do all of my YouTube and all this kind of thing. That's why this background looks very familiar. So I just am here. I'm a night owl, so I don't mind being here. Hey KK, nice to see you. Yeah. I thought it was. I thought that that was football, but I could never be 100% sure. But yeah, so that's kind of wrapping up. We're at kind of the end. I'm very excited to do some Rodden. I may come on. I had said I was going to try to do at least 2 scheduled lives. So this one went really well. So I'm going to count this as one of the 2 scheduled lives for October. We know that I'll probably be on more than that. I may do an impromptu live tomorrow sometime once I film with the Trapped collection. If I really love the look and if I'm feeling myself, then I may end up hopping on tomorrow at some point. But not really sure. We'll kind of see how things go, because I want to get some filming done for October. We've got so many October. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Central, my ranking of Fantasy Cosmetica. It's a Thunderdome where I take on 10 Fantasy Cosmetica palettes. So that's going to be coming. And yeah, the brows are with water activated liner. I used to draw them on with pencil, and let me tell you, I am such a klutzy handed person that I would immediately smear one, and then like one would like half fade by the end of the night and it would be gone. And now I can put down the like water activated liner and it stays. And so I put shadow on it, and even if the shadow rubs away, I've still got the base. So I always have it. The one time though, we had a filming day, and sometimes like hot pink or purples can stain your skin hot pink, and I had painted on purple eyebrows. And when I went to wash I was at my office, and so I didn't have like a shower. I just had my like being able to wash my face or whatever. I had stained pink eyebrows, like hot pink eyebrows. It was so funny. Angie was there and she laughed at me so hard, so hard. Oh, yeah, that was ridiculous. Oh, yes, no worries. Grand Forks, North Dakota is pretty. I mean, I've lived in North Dakota, and like I've said, there are some awful people here. And I had a conversation with somebody that was kind of a little sober. I know we're about to get deep again. Is that because one of my coworker who was on leave, he came back, and we also kind of talk about stuff that goes on outside of work. And he lives in Montana, where it's a very similar kind of situation, and he knows people that are trans. And so I was like, how are you doing? And he was like, how are you doing? And I was like, how am I doing? That's a loaded question. And I said something, and when I said it out loud, I realized that I had never like fully like wrestled with that concept. Is He was like, because he said, do you feel safe? And I said, well, that's a loaded question, because I said I haven't felt 100% truly safe since 1997. That's when I came out. Was in 1997. And so I came out in like January of 1997, and then that fall, I think the anniversary is coming up. I think it was early October is when Matthew Shepard was killed, and everybody in our college group at that time. I mean, that happened, and we in our next meeting we all just looked at each other, and we were like, that could be any one of us at any time. That we have no reason to believe that that is not a possibility. And so and so then I had to kind of sit with that of like, I generally feel pretty safe. Like I'm 6'2" without heels. I'm big. And so I have a certain imposing sort of stature, but I also just honestly have not 100% felt safe since then, since I came out. I also recognize that I have things going for me. Is that for being? I always joke about being a blue-haired non-burner. I don't know why I can't say that word, but like people, I always refer to myself as a lazy gender anarchist because I'm non-binary and like obviously I do drag and things like that, but I also most of the time when I'm just going to work, like a ringer tee and jeans, like it's usually like a graphic tee. This is we mixed it up a little bit and had a ringer tee. But so people read me as a cis male. I'm big, I'm imposing, I'm tall. I can get loud if I need to, and so there's a lot of I'm white. So if I get stopped by the police, that's certainly a conversation I've had with friends before. So like on the whole, I feel safer than a lot of people do, but not 100%. I was like, I don't even remember what that's like. I don't remember what it's like to not have even a little bit of that. Like, what's it like to just unclench like completely? And like I said, I have fun, I have good times, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like have never felt 100% completely. And I've always been a door locker. And let me tell you, I come home and I lock the door behind me, and the front door is locked. And you know, it's something that I'm aware of. And especially as the world continues to like degrade, I mean, I certainly have thoughts of like, should I own a gun? I do not think that somebody with my mental health history should own a gun. That's and I'm applying that to myself as well. Like that's something in terms of like common sense gun control. I believe that because I've lived that, and I know that like if I had owned a gun at certain points in my life, we would not be having this conversation now. Like I just know that. I know that that is something that is true. So like I do work, so I appreciate, Michelle, that you're thinking about me, but and all the other night owls that are kind of venturing out at night. But yeah, that got dark. Got real dark. Yes, no, I think I appreciate, and I just it sounds so dark, but I really do like it's just kind of a surface level thing. There are times where I felt very unsafe. There are times where something will happen and I like then the anxiety will ratchet up. There's something that like when we had a pride parade, Grand Forks has had pride celebrations for a while, but this year we had our first ever pride parade, and it happened 3 days, 2 days after Charlie Kirk's shooting. And so everybody who saw me on the parade route, because I'm like one of those ceremonial queers where I've been around so long that like I shouldn't joke like this because it gets dark, but I sometimes joke that if you're a drag queen and you live for a certain amount and you don't die, they have to start giving you plaques. And that's kind of where I'm at. So they were like, well, you're not the grand marshal. Because I technically got the like pride award last year, but there wasn't a parade. And so if there had been, I would have been the grand marshal. But then they were like, we don't know what to do because last year was the first year of the award. But this is so they're like, well, we'll put you in the second truck and you'll be. And so I was like, okay. So I'm in this truck bed in like a lawn chair and doing the waving and kind of thing. But I'm also like checking the rooftops. I mean, I'm also looking in the crowd and I am looking to see if anybody is making any moves that look suspicious. Like that day was a rough day. And then because we went right down this like one side street, but we came to like, we have this park that's called Town Square Park. And it's right smack dab in the middle of downtown. And there's all of these old style, like 2, 3 story buildings that all have accessible rooftops. And so I was like, I mean, the whole way. And somebody was like, "Why did you look so serious on that float?" And I was like, have you seen the world? Have you seen the world?" So I was like checking, and then I would remember and smile and do the whole thing. So yeah, it was. So sometimes it goes up, but most of the time it's a very maintainable. Yeah. Yes, Janet, absolutely. That's one thing. 5'4" thinnish female. Um, yeah, I do not take for granted that I have a certain privilege from just being because that when I used to travel, I mean, I was an idiot. Like I used to just in the middle of the night, I'd be in Seattle and I would Uber to a bar that was like up the hill and I would walk back half drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning and like downtown Seattle. And I would just like square up my shoulders and I would try to de-gay. I would just like, and it was just like a thing that I did. And I recognized that like, I have the body to do some of that, and it's not always gonna not always going to do it to work. But yeah, carrying is not, it's not my journey. That's the other thing is like always, I mean, I live in North Dakota where the weather is terrible, and the house that I rent has a garage, and it's kind of like permanently set up for a rummage sale. We haven't actually had a rummage sale in several years. And my neighbor, Joni, who's lovely, she's so sweet, but she's always like, "Why don't you clean out your garage so you could park inside and then you won't have snow on your car?" And I'm like, "Oh, I've just got too much stuff. I don't have the time, all this kind of stuff." And I'm like, just like owning a gun, I'm like, somebody with my mental health history should not have a garage that I can drive into and shut the door. Like that, those are the kinds of like, even when I get to my darkest, I have a little logical voice in my brain that says, we're going to put stopgap measures in place. So you are going to make sure that your garage is always messy. And that's just going to be the thing. It's just going to be a thing that you do. And so, like, not having a gun, even as I see like our democracy degrade and things get sketchier and a little scarier, like, I'm just like, owning a gun is not your journey. It's not a good idea. Whatever benefits you might get, it's not worth it. Yeah, being on the road at night. Um, yeah, we don't, Grand Forks is weird because it's a small enough, it's like a little city. We're like, I think 60,000 population or whatever. And so there aren't really bad neighborhoods. The bad neighborhood is right next to the good neighborhood. Like it's all small enough that there will be like 2 blocks of a stretch that maybe are a little sketchy. And then like over here, there's like 1 block, and over here, there's 5 blocks, or like a little 4 block square or something. But like nothing, there's no like really like dangerous part of town. There's not like you get into anything that goes, but yeah, it's pretty wild. I find, yeah, being hyper vigilant, absolutely. Yeah. I do love Capitol Hill. The only thing, so Capitol Hill, I used to stay at this hotel that was kind of right where if you went up to Capitol, if you went up, you went to Capitol Hill. It was on Pike Street. And so you'd go up to Capitol Hill, or you would go down to the fish market. The fish market was like 10 blocks away. And so that was the best hotel ever because our building that we worked in was in a weird area. And so there weren't really any hotels. So you had to Uber anyway. So I was like, well, I'm going to stay in the hotel that I want to stay at. And like my favorite Indian restaurant, if you like Indian food, Dawat Bar and Grill, Daawat. I used to travel a lot for work, and to the point where the owner of Dawat thought that I lived in Seattle, and he would like greet me and recognized me because I was there often enough. And so I I loved it. I sometimes I miss that. I miss the travel, but um, yeah, like I always felt very safe on Capitol Hill. Going down, there was one time where I was coming out of PF Chang's, and that PF Chang's is closed. It hurts my heart. But the PF Chang's, I came out, and somebody who was clearly high on something. I'm assuming meth. I don't know. Like luckily was not in like a violent kind of mood, but was facing one way and I was starting to turn this way, and he came up from the side and he grabbed me and started dancing with me. And I was like, and there was like a neighborhood patrol and they were kind of far away. And so I just kind of did my best to like slowly kind of separate, and I kind of danced along, but was like arms going out, going out, going out. And then this patrol guy came over and like separated and got him like calmed down. And they do, Seattle does a very good job with, from what I've seen, of how they patrol like with unhoused people, of not, they don't go in and like slash and burn like the neighborhood patrols. I don't know about the police so much, but like the neighborhood patrols that they have are very kind and very, because he clearly was not in his right mind. And so I was like, it felt dangerous, but I also recognized that it was also part of an addiction and all that kind of stuff. But that's the only time that I really, really felt unsafe. Now, someday this will be a September. We've been here so long. I appreciate everybody for staying here. At some point, I will tell you about the nervous breakdown that I had. I became such a cliche when I was turning 40. That's when I got this tattoo, which I never know how to show. Okay, so this tattoo, I got this tattoo. It also involved a porn star and crying openly, just like weeping on the streets of downtown Seattle. If you want to be ignored in a city, if you're worried about being ignored, start weeping because immediately everybody just was like blinders up and they just like were like "Meow, meow." Nobody stopped. I'm from North Dakota where we're the dumb assholes. I recognize that someday I'll be found in a ditch because I will like misjudge somebody's level of crazy and I'll see something and I'll be like, are you okay? And then wah. But I just like, so someday I'll tell the story of the porn star and the crying in Seattle and the tattoo and the whole thing. That'll be a conversation for another day where we really open up some of the boxes. The name of this, did I ever, I think I did go to Neighbors once. I think I went to Neighbors once. I used to go to the Unicorn and I used to go to their drag brunch. I used to love with when Mama Tits was there. Now it's, I think they still do the brunch, but it's a different group of them. But when Mama Tits, they used to do the 30-minute musicals. I went to 30-minute Little Shop of Horrors. And I went to a couple just random drag shows, but I went to 30-minute Little Shop of Horrors, 30-minute Chicago, and 30 minutes something else. I was a trainer for 6 years. When I tell you that I spent a lot of time in Seattle or Arizona, I did do a few other trips and I'm very appreciative of it. Most, if not all, of the travel experience that I have is from my job. And so I definitely am appreciative of it. But it got to be a lot because there was at least 1 year, possibly two, where I spent more nights in hotels than I spent in my house. Like when I added up, and that included a couple of vacations. I used to go to horror conventions, and so I'd go for there for like 5 days or whatever. But like when I added up all the nights that my Hilton Honors used to be banging. I used to have so many points. Oh, I had so many points. But like there were a couple times where there was a month where I would write a check for my rent and post it from either Seattle or Arizona, and I wouldn't set foot in my house for that entire month. Like I paid rent for it, but I didn't set foot in there the whole time. Um, excuse me. Yeah, so that was wild. So thank you everybody for coming to this. I think I'm going to wrap it up because it is getting late. It's about 12:30 and 2.5 hours. We've been doing pretty good. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the chat. I hope I didn't miss anything. I sometimes I get talking and I know how my squirrel brain is. And so I try to go back to the comments, but there might be some things. 21st up on Capitol Hill. I love it. Yeah, I went to the Unicorns. Cupcake Royale is another thing. Doghouse Leathers is another thing from Seattle that I love. The Can Can Cabaret. Oh, I love the Can Can Cabaret. The ACT, the Act Theater. So good. Seattle has my heart. I used to spend a lot of time in either Seattle or Arizona. Arizona, much less interesting, much less interesting. But thank you everybody for coming, and thank you for the good conversation. I appreciate that we came here. We were going to talk about jewelry and unboxings, and we were going to talk about makeup. And things got a little deep and a little dark, and I love it when conversations take that way, and I appreciate everybody being authentic in the chat and everybody being respectful of everybody sharing their kind of thoughts and fears and all that kind of stuff. I don't know the best way to say it. I'm not super prepared, but I do appreciate that. And I love sharing those kinds of stories because I recognize that a lot of these struggles we all go through. And it's so hard to talk about. Even if we feel like we've removed the stigma, sometimes it's so hard to like talk about these things. And talking about times where we maybe haven't been our best selves. I'm talking about like when we were younger and we did things that we're not very proud of, and those kinds of things that and I clearly have to stop talking because I'm getting froggy. I'm like starting to like lose my voice. But I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much. Let's see if I can remember my intro. I've been so out of practice. But yes, replay crew, don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought about this meandering conversation. Let us know if you appreciated this live stream. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Or if you are like, girl, 2.5 hours, what have you been doing here? What is going on? Get a hobby, do some macrame. Go ahead and give me that thumbs down. It's okay. It's all engagement. The algorithm isn't a picky bitch, and neither am I. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified of all future uploads. And you'll get notifications when I schedule lives in advance, or if I'm sketchy, you'll get them when I go live. But all those notifications are great. Hit that bell icon. And I try really hard to have at least one video a week. I know I've been slacking on it, but October, I'm telling you, is going to be lit. October is going to be a lot of content starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning with Fantasy Cosmetica Makeup Thunderdome. And sometimes, if you are very lucky, you might even get a bonus video. Ooh, rotten-tastic. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website, The World of Champagne at janessaj.com. Thank you so much for being a part of this chat, replay crew. Thank you so much for checking this out. I know it's a long one, but I hope you found something worthwhile in it. I hope you enjoyed it. And until I see you again, bye. Look for Barbie. Ending this is always so awkward. Bye.